what's going on in our country today. It says, "Hi, John. Democrats should try to remember 9/11 when the whole country pulled together. It was not about Dems or Republicans. It was America under attack, and the American Constitution came to the front as we the people. Look how far the Dems have drifted from the day of 9/11, wanting socialism, destroying American history in our schools, supporting the American Constitution. That is America. People wanting socialism should move to a socialist country. No one should try to change our great republic, which has stood for freedom since the 1700s. Just my simple thoughts. Love, Dad." That's my father right there. Spent 26 years, Vietnam, Korea, Thailand, fighting for this country that he loves. You know, you don't spend 26 years in the military and don't think that there's a purpose to that. And that's what he did. And now, you know, Jairus and I, we spoke on the earlier show about how it's not getting the play that it should. And I wonder how our military feel. I wonder if they think, like my dad, and I'm not saying that my dad does think this, but there has to be a thought sometimes of, what did I fight for? This is not the America that I was fighting for. What do you think, Jairus? You think that military people have a grievance about this?
Well, I think they must. I mean, I've said this before. We said it a few hours ago at the top of the 2 o'clock hour of this special. I've never seen just less shrugging the shoulders. 9/11 anniversary. What else is in the news? News networks. I mean, less than 30 minutes into their broadcast, they've already moved on to talking about John Bolton or some Trump with. People they don't seem to care.
Well, you know, the flip side is to people that were around, you will never forget, you know, people in the 60s that were old enough when Kennedy got shot, one of those moments they will always remember where they were, what they did. I mean, this was a moment like that. And for, you know, any young people that are listening to this, if you got to see the videos again, watch them again, because the braveness of these people to have one tower already crashed down, and you had the best of New York City, the fire department personnel and the police department personnel going up the steps of the next tower, knowing that the other one went down. I mean, it doesn't get any braver than that. And, you know, I was disappointed because the Democrats had a lot to talk about, and it was just all words. It meant nothing. We talked about this earlier. Joe Biden talking about it. You know, he said all the right stuff, but then he had to go on and say attacks have become a reminder of who we are as a nation and what Americans are capable of when we come together, united in shared purpose. You know, what he was doing there, he was taking a shot at Trump, because he always talks about him being the great divider.
All these malooks did. Not one of them could just simply honor the victims of 9/11. Right. It had to be made political. Yeah. Meanwhile, we're told it's conservatives and Republicans that make everything political.
Yeah, there was no more of a divider than the Biden and Barack Obama administration. Elizabeth Warren, Pocahontas. Today, I'm thinking about the lives we lost on September 11th. She ended up with saying, "We will always remember them." You remember them, but you don't honor them.
Well, John, we did post about that. The only good thing about today is that at the very least, Democrats are acting like they give a damn about first responders and our men and women in blue. So at least we have that to look forward to.
It doesn't come off legit. Her words ring hollow. I'm sorry.
And just look at the record. Just look at them every other day of the year, and you're going to see just how hollow and just how flating these words are.
Yeah. And that's the problem, is that you can just tell there is no authenticity to it. You know, Bernie Sanders, today we remember the 3,000 Americans we lost on September 11th. Bernie, who wants to change the America that those 3,000 knew? Those lives that were lost, the 3,000 that were lost. You're dying to change America. That is not the America that they knew. You don't, again, words that ring hollow. Buttigieg, you know, he served. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't take that lightly. But he says it's one of its worst days America found its best self. And on this day, it is within us to find it again. Mayor Pete, we found it. We're already on board. It's you who are not on board. It's you who needs to change the way you're thinking.
And this is why I said, if a 9/11 style attack happened today, it would rip the country apart even more than it did back then. Yeah, because it wouldn't just be that we were attacked from terrorists. We would also be attacked from people trying to make it politicized within our own country. We'd be taking it on all fronts.
Man, I tell you, if that literally happened, what a shame that would be.
Every leading candidate for president rushed to make today political.
Well, it's because it's an opportunity to make it political, but I'm not worried about the candidates, because I think most people can see through the fluff. What I'm concerned about is what you said regarding, if something like that happened today, what would the people be united?
The country was only able to survive that because everyone, skin color, politics, was able to unite. That was the only reason.
And you don't think that would happen today?
Oh, no.
Really?
Not even, not a chance.
Oh my gosh.
Half the Democrats would come out and say this is because of Bush's foreign policy. We'd start having philosophy, political policy argument. We wouldn't be able to come together. No, we can't come together on anything. We can't even agree what color a stupid dress is, let alone something as big. If something like this happened, there's zero chance, John.
I hope that the country is bigger than that. I hope the country's better
I hope
than
I'm
that.
wrong, but I know I'm right.
Yeah, it's one of, and you might be right. And I'll tell you, if it is, then as a nation, we're lost completely. We're lost completely.
And that's why it scares you if something to that magnitude took place, because that's the only thing that kept us together, was we all understood that we were Americans.
Yeah.
That understanding is gone. In fact, most people spit at the fact of being an American now. So if something of this magnitude or half this magnitude took place, how the country would respond as a whole, scary thought.
I'll tell you what else was scary. Looking at New York City itself, the fact that the mayor of New York City, he had the right words. He spoke some words about, look, Washington is full of people who pretend to love our city one day a year. I'm not sure Bill de Blasio loves the city one day a year. I think he was in New York City 7 hours last month.
He just described every single politician.
Yeah.
In a minority community, rundown community. Yeah. Oh, yeah, election day. Oh, they love you. Election day, they're going to do all this stuff for you. And then they go back to Washington in their high-class roller dinners, and they don't give two damns about you with your food stamps.
And then he goes on to tweet, we'll never forget those who are only there for us one day a year. Whatever. Look, the weird thing about Mayor de Blasio is the fact that the New York City Police Department feel like that their mayor has turned their back on him. He really can't even speak about 9/11 because the heroes of 9/11 are looking at him like, you're a joke. And that's just, he's still running.
Heroes of 9/11 look at him that way. People in Iowa and New Hampshire look at him that way. That's why he's lucky to get above 3%. No one likes this guy, but yet we keep having to hear from him.
I remember the day that it happened. I remember the phone call I got from the girl I was dating at the time, Cheryl, and I remember Cheryl saying, do you see what's happening here? And I was like, no, I don't have a TV here. What's going on? And she's telling me the story. And then as I went on to tell you in the 2 o'clock hour that we had people, like every patient that I saw that day was just giving me updates on just how horrific this thing was. And I couldn't wait to get to a TV that night. And I remember going to my buddy Dave's house, and I was there from like 5:30 to midnight just watching in horror at what happened. And it's to this day, when I think about it, it just gets you so riled up. And as I was telling you earlier, the fact that when I drive from South Jersey, which is where my family, lives, and I have to drive to North Jersey, and I got to cross this bridge, and I look to the right, and I know where the towers used to be. I know where they used to be, and they're not there anymore. And it gets you angry all over again. You feel the same venom and just anger that you felt with the day that it happened. And New Yorkers don't forget this. And for the Democrats, like we talked about that 9/11 Senate hearing, for them to talk about gun control and climate change and whatever
white supremacy.
And white supremacy on a day when the families were there to hear what the 9/11 Senate meeting would be about. It's just despicable. Jairus, you might be right. I hope you're wrong, but man, it would just be such a blemish on our country if something like that happened again and we couldn't come together. That would mean the opposition won. A house divided can't stand. Right?
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. A house divided is not going to be able to stand. If we are that divided, and I would hope that Americans, yeah, you might be right, because if the younger generation doesn't even know our history because academia is trying to wipe it off the map, how is it that they know what to stand for? If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. And that's what our young people are starting to do, because they're trying. Any white person who did something great historically for this country, oh, he's got to go. He's got to go. I mean, that's what it's coming to. And
it's like you said in the academia. And then the news that they're listening to is telling them that it was the planes, not hijackers, not terrorism, not Islamic terrorism. It was the planes.
Yeah.
They just flew themselves into the Twin Towers.
Yeah. And the way the New York Times, which we'll get to a little bit maybe on the next segment, again, we have a community that just swipes right. They just see headlines. And the New York Times knows that, which is why they're always giving you bad headlines. Guys, you're listening to Talk Radio 1680 KGED. Our phone numbers are 559-442-1680. If you have any good memories of 9/11, chime in. I would love. They're not good memories. I get it. Chime in. Talk to you after the break. Hey, Facebook, thank you for chiming in. I love my audience. All right, Kim. Hey, Kim, how are you? Kim from Texas. Eddie, 343 plus. Since then, firefighters have lost their lives. Really? Yeah. Jeez. That should be talked about more, and it's not. Tracy, so true. Thank you, Tracy. Belinda. Cello Patriots, thanks for chiming in. Joan, how are you, Joan? Susie, let's not forget February 26, 1993. Yeah, the first Twin Tower bombing, 13 died. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I cannot argue with that, Susie. Good call on that part, on your part. Kim, it should be mourning today, not politics. We should. Unfortunately, we're going to do the best. We're going to give you more. Oh, we'll be back shortly.
Okay, so when we come back, we got to do.
Continuous freak show coverage rolls on. And now, Guillermo Moreno, Jarris Jackson, and John Meccico.
I vividly remember when I first heard the news. I was sitting at home watching a major business television show. Early that morning, Jack Welch, the legendary head of General Electric, was about to be interviewed when all of a sudden they cut away. At first, there were different reports. It was a boiler fire, but I knew that boilers aren't at the top of a building. It was a kitchen explosion in Windows on the World. Nobody really knew what happened. There was great confusion. I was looking out of a window from a building in Midtown Manhattan, directly at the World Trade Center, when I saw a second plane at a tremendous speed go into the second tower. It was then that I realized the world was going to change.
And change it did. And change it did. Well said, President Trump. All right. We're talking about 9/11 appropriately so, because it should be something that we honor, those brave men and women, the lives that were lost, 3,000 lives plus, and just the post-traumatic stress disorder, the families, what they've gone through. I mean, this has been never ending. And our troops that have continued to be in Afghanistan. This is not just, it's not 9/11, just 9/11. It's much more than that. It's much bigger than that. One of the things that was most disappointing today, Jarris, was the fact that the New York Times got it wrong. And this is about New York. How the New York Times gets this wrong is beyond any comprehension. And they didn't get it wrong once. In my opinion, they got it wrong twice. So they came out with an opening line, which was, it was quickly pointed out to the Times. Well, this is what they said. 18 years have passed since airplanes took aim and brought down the World Trade Center. Today, families will once again gather and grieve at the site. And they went on to talk about 2,000 people. It was quickly pointed out to the Times that airplanes were not responsible for taking out the lives of nearly 3,000 people. All right. Not the 2,000 that they said. And that it was radical Islamic terrorists who were flying planes. The tweet was quickly deleted and the story was amended. So now they got it wrong a second time. They said 18 years after nearly 3,000 people were lost, families of those killed in the terror attacks will gather at the 9/11 memorial. They just couldn't bring themselves to say radical Islamic terrorist attacks. They couldn't call it for what it is. New York Times, you want to know why you're failing? You're failing because you don't have the pulse of the people in your own city. That's why you're failing.
And they stopped representing New York years ago, but it's a continuing trend, like we said, because whenever there's a mass shooting, it's all the gun's fault. Don't look at the person, don't look at mental health, it's all the gun's fault. These inanimate objects, we got to get a hold on them. They got their own mind, and they're able to do whatever they want, John.
It makes no sense that you would not even be genuinely honest with your own people.
And they gave up on that years ago.
But
they gave up.
But on 9/11,
and that's all of them. New York has given up on New York, San Francisco. These places pushing an anti-American liberal agenda. That's all that matters.
You guys do what you
want. And literally, and in a literal sense, the cities that are in their headline, that are in their title, they can go straight to hell. That's what most of them have done.
As some of you may have heard the story from 2 days ago, the Times had actually deleted a post where they praised Mao Zedong for his policies, and they actually called him, one of history's great revolutionary figures. That had to get taken down pretty quickly, right? And I think the way they worded it was that it lacked critical historical context. Are you kidding me? Yeah. I guess
it lacked all the murder that he did. But all right.
Anyway, we could go on with the Ben Shapiro's of the world called out New York Times. Many prominent people called out New York Times, and they should be called out. This is absolutely absurd that the New York Times would stoop this low after what went on in their own city. The fact that if it would have went on in another city, they probably would have denied it altogether. I mean, honestly, that's what they did that during World War II. So maybe I shouldn't be surprised, but I think it's disgusting. And I don't know why anybody would read the New York Slimes anymore, because that is what they are. This is slime ball stuff. We got a caller on the line. My main man. Make sure that I got you on here. Yeah, because I always mess that up. Steve, are you on?
Yes, sir.
Hey, buddy, how are you?
Oh, good.
You remember 9/11?
You guys are nailing it again, as usual.
Thank you.
One of the biggest things that they also forgot too, that those 19 terrorists that took them planes and flew them into the buildings were here on expired visas.
That's right.
And what has transpired for the last 18 years to make sure it don't happen again on just that aspect of expired visas? The Democrats are even using the illegal immigration and these illegals here that are only here on expired visas over and over. They keep repeating that.
How do they get away with that? How does the public not see that, Steve?
Well, as you say, it's the misinformation, like New York Times and putting out articles and stuff like that. But here's something else too. Did you read what Taylor Swift said the other day?
Taylor Swift.
No, tell me. I did not read what she said. What did she say?
Okay, she said Trump is gaslighting Americans into thinking that if you hate the president, you hate America.
Trump's gaslighting.
At least we're supposed to be, where you're allowed to disagree, dissent, debate. I really think that he thinks this is an autocracy.
Good word.
Now, if she believed that we're supposed to be a democracy, she wouldn't be allowed to say what she did.
Exactly
because a democracy would not allow her to do that.
And if we're going to start taking our political cues from Taylor Swift, we're in big trouble. Taylor, shake it off, baby. Shake it off.
That's the problem. These movie stars and these media outfits, they believe that they're gods and that whatever they say is going to be taken in by the people and believed. And that's what's happening is the news, they're reporting it, putting it on TV, putting it in papers. People see it. Well, it must be true. Taylor Twit. She's up there saying something. I agree with Taylor. The misinformation and like you were talking, what is it with these kids that don't really understand what's going on?
And
we mentioned it. We were talking about it before in the other hour. High school kids that I went to high school with today posting about their Jordans and their shoes and rappers that they like. No mention. It doesn't even cross their mind to even act like.
And they're trying to wipe it out of the history books.
Exactly.
And that's the biggest sin of all. They don't even know what they stand for. They know nothing about what this country stands for. They don't know. They don't even understand that they would have a reason to fight.
Yeah, and has anybody talked to these kids today that were born after 9/11? That do they even know what happened? I mean, here is part of history that should be being taught to people. Is it being taught? Do they even know what happened and why it happened?
Yeah, we were talking about when I was in elementary school on 9/11. There was an assembly, a 9/11 assembly. So it was pretty clear that it wasn't left up to the teachers. It was school led. Do they have that now? Is there any interest in teaching kids at all? Because you're getting to the point now to where you have kids. This is just going to be an afterthought. They're going to have to think about what 9/11 is. It's not going to invoke anything when they hear 9/11 or when it's close to September. It's not going to invoke anything. They're going to be completely detached from this nation being attacked.
Yes, regardless, good or bad, history is something to be taught from. You got to learn from it, and you got to teach it so it don't get repeated.
Exactly.
So here we go. They're brushing everything off. They're rewriting it, like what you said in New York Times. They're rewriting what people are reading, and they're deflecting from the actual problem and cause and what went on. So, it's shameful.
So, Steve, Jairus and I were saying earlier, it is almost like the New York Times does this purposely. They would almost have to, because they do this so much, and they never make a mistake to the right. It's always in favor of the left. I mean, how many times can you do this, and it always favors one side, and call this an accident?
Well, when you do it once or twice or three times and you get by with it, it's a hard practice to get out of. it becomes natural now, and
so Steve, it's habitual, is what you're telling us.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, you tell me. So it's habitual what they're doing.
Yeah, it's just that they can do it. They're getting by with it. Nobody's holding them accountable.
The only way to hold them accountable is to stop buying the paper. That's the only way to. And they look. They're not doing nearly as good as they used to do. I will say the one thing I am noticing is that they are trying to cover some of their tracks regarding the whole Spygate thing. That's the one thing they're doing. They are trying to get ahead of some stories because they realize that they really screwed up there. But at the end of the day, they're going to be true to who they are.
Oh, yeah, and they're proving who they are. Yeah. It's the bad thing that people are so gullible today on what they hear. I mean, the truth is not being – the truth wasn't even taught in schools.
Yeah.
So when you grow up, you don't even know the truth. If you don't research this and you don't look into it for yourself, you never know it. So if you become dependent on listening to the media or reading their paper, that's all you're going to know.
And that's the danger of this particular generation. Everything is swipe right or swipe left, and everybody's reading the headline and they think they know the whole story, and they don't know squat, and it's extremely, extremely dangerous. Steve, thank you so much for the call, my friend. I really appreciate it.
Yep. Thank you, sir.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.
He always brings it. He always tells the truth. I mean, he always does. By the way, I got a text message while we were talking to Steve from my dad. John, I didn't do 26 years. I did 23. All right, Pop, I'm sorry.
I'll take the greatest service like that, John.
But, my Pop's going to correct me, so that's what he did, all right? Also said, I had 15. He did Guam as well, Korea, Vietnam, Thailand, and he was stationed in Spain. And check. So, yeah. Hey, but listen, I'm glad he called me out on it because you know what? Thank you, Dad, for doing what you did. I remember living on the Air Force Base. I remember how, this was to be taken serious. And I'm glad he corrected me for sure. But at the end of the day, those are the kind of men that really sacrifice so much, and I would think, and I know it does, because I know the conversations I have when I'm talking to him, and it breaks his heart to see what's going on today. And a guy like him, he's thankful for Donald Trump. He's thankful for Donald Trump because at least somebody has the cojones, right, to stand up for what's right. To stand up and say enough is enough. And look, if you're a military guy and you've been fighting all your life for this country, you'd like to see a fighter. You'd like to see somebody that's going to defend you a little bit. You don't need the Barack Obamas with "don't step over the red line," and a minute later, "I just stepped over it. What now? What do you got for me?" You got nothing.
More speeches. Yeah,
you got more speeches. Well, we'll evaluate this again. Maybe we'll draw another red line. He came off like a wuss. I hate to say it, but he did. I don't know. I'm going to be very honest here. I never wanted to see him fail. Why did I not want to see Barack Obama fail? Because he was the president. I'm not like these guys now that are just, let's go into a recession. I don't care what the American people feel in their pocket. I just want to see Trump fail. I never felt that way. If you're the president of the United States, I want you to succeed. He just never did. He never, ever did. And that's it. He made our military look bad. He just made us all look like wimps.
So you don't think 1.5% GDP growth was good, John?
Good for him, but it wasn't good for anybody else.
Well, yeah,
To him,
you got to grade on a curve with Barack Hussein Obama.
Oh my gosh. Jairus Jackson joining me on Talk Radio 1680 KGED. When we come back, we're going to talk some local stuff probably because we got to get into this whole thing with California and Sheriff Mims, and we got stuff to talk about here. Stick around, guys. Talk Radio 1680 KGED, and we're waiting for our fearless leader, Guillermo Moreno. I didn't do that well. I got to work on that. Bye. See you in a few. Hey, Facebook, appreciate you guys hanging in there. Oh, man. What I remember was the sight of partial buildings standing there, some with desks, file cabinets. I didn't even get into the most gruesome part. Thanks, Chris, for chiming in, by the way. Chris and Kevin, Joan, today should be a National Day of Remembrance. Joan, you are absolutely right. I know he does have his hand on my face. Kevin, thank you. I want to tell him about that. He said, "Come on, he's covering all this handsomeness. What's he doing?" Kim telling my dad, "Thank you for your service." I think that's what she's saying. If that's what you're saying, I will relay that to my dad. Kim, thank you. Susie, Dad knows best. Thank you, Miss. You know what? I'm going to take a picture of this. Let me get a picture of this here. He'll appreciate that, guys. Thank you so much for that. All right. Let me see. We got Kyle. Yo, John. Yo, Kyle. How much? Richard, raised in the Bronx. I lived in Yonkers a lot of years, Richard. We would have a lot to talk about.
Central Valley's home for all things Campaign 2020. Talk Radio 1680 KGED. And now, Guillermo Moreno, Jairus Jackson, and John Meccico.
Step right up. Step right up. Get your cotton candy. Get your hot popcorn right here. Step right up. We got the Democratic debate coming up.
Get your San Francisco style politics. I don't know who would want that, but I guess if you're open to that.
Jairus, you were just telling me something crazy. Tell me this again.
This is one of those, which I find it amazing in this day and age that I'm still able to find stories that is unbelievable for you, but you really couldn't believe this one.
I know. I was dumbfounded.
Okay, so the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, is making a concerted effort to increase the diversity of debate moderators. Now, what did you think?
Moderators,
what did you think? With all the crazy ideas that we hear coming out of a Democrat debate, you would think who's asking the questions would be their last concern and who's answering them is what they should be concerned with. But no, not really. The Democratic National Committee made a commitment to increasing diversity of debate monitors this cycle and agreed to at least one person of color and one female moderator in every single primary debate.
So Ramos is one and done?
Maybe Ramos is the female one. I don't know, but the moderators that they do have planned for tomorrow night debate, which you can catch right here on Talk Radio 1680 KGED. So, you haven't heard of most of these people.
You're covering this handsome face, by the way, for Facebook. I'm just letting you know.
I'm so sorry.
One of our guys said they says he's coming. Go for it.
Lindsay Davis. I have no idea who Lindsay Davis is. All right, Lindsay Davis. George Stephanopoulos, who's Bill Clinton's fixer.
Bill Clinton lackey.
He's going to give some good. David Muir, who's about probably the most. He does the ABC nightly news.
I can accept David Muir.
He's the closest to a fair individual that you're going to have to deal with tomorrow. And then, of course, Jorge Ramos. So I guess Lindsay Davis is I mean, we do have a Congress or a senator who's Lindsay, and it's a male allegedly. But Lindsay Davis. We love Lindsey Graham. He's just a 50-plus-year-old man who's not married. So we have some questions. But anyway, yeah, Lindsay, I guess she checks the female box. And then, really, Stephanopoulos, Greek. Muir, I think, is also Greek. And then Jorge Ramos, south of the border. So they really outdid themselves on the diversity part.
Wait a minute. Stephanopoulos and Muir are white. I don't care about your ethnicity. If you're talking about skin color, they're white. All right. What? How do people get ethnicity and race mixed up?
Maybe ABC is also of that belief. That's why they put Jorge Ramos.
Oh, gosh. All right. So I've got a big problem with this. I do personally.
Just this, right?
Well, I got a lot of problems today.
Okay.
You've always got problems. All right. So listen. What I want is the most intelligent people. I don't care if you're green. But if you can have a comprehensive thought come out of your mouth, from your brain to your mouth, and ask a question that's not framed in a way to try to make somebody look bad, but to get to the honest part of what people want to hear, then I'm for you. I don't care if you're green, blue, I don't care.
I'm just looking for someone that's not biased. I don't care if it's a bunch of old white ladies up there, if it's a bunch of old white guys, if it's a bunch of black ladies that look like Kamala Harris.
And then
if they're going to be fair, put them up there and don't give me Bill Clinton's old fixer.
Exactly. And then you want to wonder why people don't trust the media. There's your answer. Look what you're doing. Does the media not care? I'm going nuts here. I'm losing my mind.
Don't worry.
This
debate's going to be fair and balanced, ladies and gentlemen. It's going to be so fair and balanced. We're putting Bill Clinton's fixer as one of the moderators.
You know what I'd like to see? I'd like to see.
And Jorge Ramos, whose daughter was an integral part in Hillary Clinton's failed campaign. So this is going to be really fair.
I want to see Brett Baer, Dave Muir. Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
I mean, get a couple people that are from different sides, but that are fair and balanced as well as we could think they would be. That would be a good debate. I don't need people who can't.
And mandated that you have to have a person of color. And a female.
To mandate it.
And a female. First of all, I thought gender was a made-up social construct, so I don't know how they're going to...
Yes, that's a very good point.
I'm just saying.
Does she feel like a he, or are they going to have 4 males there one day, or 3 males, and one say,
that's
but
what
I feel like a woman today?
That's what they're going to do. Don't worry, everybody. Jorge Ramos told us 5 seconds ago that he feels like Cynthia Ramos. And because of that, he's going to count as the woman.
You know what? I think that's what it's come down to. It's like our cow guy yesterday. He felt like a bovine male.
Illegal alien having sexual relations with cows from yesterday.
So the other problem that I have with this is that people think that this is just the debate. This is happening in corporate America, and it's wrong. And so what I mean by that is this. Corporate America, these big companies, they're not hiring who the best candidate would be for the upper level management positions.
Here in California, you have to have a female on your board of directors.
She may be the lowest qualified person. Now, me, if I'm holding stock in that company,
I'm pretty pissed.
Right, you have to be. Are you looking out for your stockholders, or are you looking out for some bogus?
Trying to be woke, John. I'm trying to be woke.
I invested my money in your company because I want to see the top people make top decisions so that we can be successful in our investments. I don't need somebody that's woke. I don't need somebody of color or wood. If she's the most qualified, by all means get in there because it doesn't matter.
And in this debate, what we're talking about, I can promise you George Stephanopoulos is not the most qualified.
He's not.
There are people
Well,
that
first
have...
off-
when you say that you want to have a fair debate, there are other people who do not have years and years of working to elect Democrats.
Yeah.
You've got to be able to find someone who's a little more fair. And you're thinking, well, it's a Democrat debate. No. We need people to challenge them, not just powder their own ego and present them in a better light to the American people.
Well said.
Stephanopoulos has no credit of being a fair and balanced individual.
Who's next? Who's next? Joey Behar or whatever her name is from The View?
Listen, it's already
is
gone.
that who's next?
Just think about this for the networks trying to act like they're fair and balanced to you. We've literally had Stephanopoulos, Bill Clinton's fixer, Don Sour Lemons when CNN had the debate.
Don Sour Lemons.
What? They're not even trying to act like they're fair. They're not even trying to act like they're trying to give us a fair debate.
All right, we've sparked another caller. Randy, you're on the air. Let me get you. Hold on. Let me make sure I got this right. Randy, speak to me, buddy.
I'm speaking to you, John. Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, I can.
That's great. I'm watching you here on the Facebook. You're looking good today. You're looking real nice. Got the freshly shaved head. You got the nice shirt on today. Looking dapper, John.
Thank you.
Yeah, looking great.
Hey.
What's the other guy's name there? The fellow who's the producer, I guess, or is the co-host?
We're gonna move on. We're gonna move on. But he's right. I am looking dapper. I don't care what anybody says.
Well, I love how you're still able to take the compliment.
Hey, I got to get what I can get.
Nonetheless, John, you're still able to take the compliment. God
Hey,
bless you
I
for
do
that.
radio because I got a face for radio, I think. I don't know. We got to.
And then they threw these damn cameras in here, and now we're all screwed.
If you're gonna call in, get to the point because we got a lot of people. That Randy, you got to do better than that. I'm sorry.
That guy, in the words of Kamala Harris, may have been mentally retarded. Why was he speaking so slow?
Cheers.
I mean, Jesus.
Yeah.
Get it together.
No, he knew what he was doing. Unfortunately, we're not going to have that. We can't have that. So, all right, guys. Back to the debate in the Ramos and the corporate America, and this is exactly what's going on, and it's just wrong. It's wrong.
And just listen, because when you say, I'm sure you've heard it, when you say that, the left acts like even assuming the whole thing about the women being on the board of directors. You don't think there's any woman who's qualified enough to be on the board of directors?
Yes, I do.
That's not what we're saying. Okay, well, that is what we're trying to say.
No. I do think that there are women that are qualified to be on the board of directors. I do think that.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, don't put her there because she's a woman. Put her there because she's qualified.
Exactly.
Don't tell me that you've got to meet a ratio of certain people and they got to be certain genders or certain colors. I want the brightest. I want the best and the brightest. It doesn't say the best, the brightest, and the most colorful. It's the best and the brightest. That's what I want.
This does show exactly how these networks, they fail every single time they try and go out there and they try to put on a debate. They fail every time. They can't help themselves but put out some liberal hack and try to dress them up as being a fair and balanced moderator. It fails every time.
Especially when some of these people like Stephanopoulos, I keep wanting to say Stephanopoulos, right? With the F, with the PH. Stephanopoulos, especially with his background.
Guys,
Everybody knows who he was
debate.
associated with.
Come
People
on.
see his show every weekend. I mean, the Maurer guy. The Maurer, am I saying it right, David? I get it.
Stephanopoulos and James Carville, they were an integral part in Bill Clinton getting elected. Come on now.
This is absurd.
Jorge Ramos' daughter, I forget the role, but she was a higher up in the Bill Clinton, or not the Bill Clinton, but the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. So,
Yeah.
come on now.
I don't know. People, this is it's gotten crazy.
You want to know what else is ridiculous?
What's that?
Apparently Kamala Harris is just leaving
Tell
secrets
me
at
what's going
diners.
on with that? Yeah.
Listen, you can't be president if you can't even keep up with your papers. Here's what we should do. We should all put our money together and try to buy Kamala Harris a binder. Maybe we can call up Mitt Romney. Remember the binder's full of women. Maybe he can loan her a binder because she just can't keep up with her papers.
So what exactly did she do?
Okay, an internal briefing memo from Kamala Harris's presidential campaign was accidentally left behind in a restaurant and was obtained by Politico.
Oh, wow.
So they're literally having a late night campaign dinner powwow, and they're leaving memos behind.
That is wonderful.
According to Politico and according to the memo that they obtained, the two concerns of the Harris campaign they're currently looking to address is her infrequent travels to New Hampshire, and the perception of her summer slump following a slew of bad polls after her second presidential debate. Which this is confirmation that, once again, who was right? We were right. She knows that it looks like she's falling, and she knows that her campaign is currently on the downward trend. according to the internal memo that they stupidly left behind at a
So
restaurant.
Politico's left-leaning.
I still can't believe they actually. Who's in charge of who's writing these memos?
Right.
To where they're so sloppy, they just leave it behind.
This is, yeah. Will Politico actually break a story? Because they're left-leaning.
No. They're left-leaning, but they may not want her, so they were more than one to break this story.
Maybe
this
you're right.
just makes her look so sloppy.
No, it does. It does.
Her campaign looks so unbelievably sloppy.
Yeah, a story like this can actually really hurt people because if you can't keep that kind of stuff confidential, I mean, how are you going to... Oh, gosh.
The internal memo, which was left behind on a piece of paper at a restaurant, Political reports several pages of talking points rebutting the theme that she has not gone to New Hampshire as much as her other Democrat counterpoints and providing additional data to the narrative that she is currently on the downward trend in national and statewide polls. Now, here's the thing. The data's just their feelings because the polls show homegirl's on the downward. The black woman.
The black woman.
She's on the downward trend.
This is going to be... I hope somebody brings it up at the debate tomorrow. You're leaving stuff... What? They say the restaurant?
Yeah.
Was there a Wendy's?
It was not.
Was it a Denny's?
No.
No?
What if we found out, like, not only she, like, her policies are crappy, but she has crappy food too. She was at, like, an IHOP or something.
All right,
That'd
guys,
be terrible.
You listen to Talk Radio 1680. We will be back after the break. All right, Facebook. Let's see. Richard Hope.
We never mentioned.
Okay, what?
We never mentioned Dan Bishop. Not only.
My gosh!
But we should save it because not only did he win, but he also had pyro. I've never seen a congressional candidate.
Yeah, we have to do that when Guillermo gets here. Absolutely.
We gotta find the video too.
Yeah, and Mike on here, it was just talking about that Republican won North Carolina. So we will get to that. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
And now, the three ringleaders trying their best to make sense of this circus. Guillermo Moreno, Jairus Jackson, and John Meccico.
All right, guys, welcome back to Talk Radio 1680 KGED. Jairus Jackson and John Meccico are manning the forts, waiting for Guillermo Moreno to show up and he's got to partake in this. So we're doing the debate tomorrow night. And by the way, Sheila has said to us that she thinks you and I should be on that debate stage. We would crush them. And
well, I could be a moderator. There goes your diversity. There goes your diversity. And boom, we can ask them some real questions.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so tell us one more time, who is on this debate stage?
All right, so tomorrow, here's who you have to look, I don't know if I'd say look forward, but here's who you got to look forward to tomorrow. Joe Biden, Elizabeth Warren, Bernie Sanders, Kamala Harris, Pete Buttigieg, Andrew Yang, Cory Booker, Beto O'Rourke, Amy Klobuchar, and Julian Castro.
And out of these, you asked me earlier, let me ask you, who's got a chance of coming out of here looking decent?
Warren. I mean, Warren's going to be right next to no black kids on the bus, Joe Biden. It's going to be very interesting. Hey, you like that? No black kids. It's going to be very interesting to see how this whole thing ends up going. Biden is bookended. He's got Bernie Sanders. He's got the Stalin fantasizing socialist on one side, and then he's got the Stalin
fantasizing.
Basically the same thing, just with a little Indian flair on the other side. So it's going to be very interesting to watch.
Yeah, with a little bit of Indian flair. This should be classic. That's good stuff. Oh, gosh.
I'm excited.
I still think that the Carolina Panthers, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to get more people watching that than the debate.
So John is continuing his quest that let's just screw the debate and watch Thursday Night Football.
No, I'm saying that we're going to watch the debate so our audience doesn't have to be tortured with
it. It's a public service that we're doing.
We're going to bring it to you, you know?
All right.
So, hey, listen, we got Kyle on the line. Kyle, my friend, how are you, buddy?
Hey, how's it going?
You're going good. What do you think?
Well, all I have to say is that the three GOPs, the three
we talked a lot about that yesterday.
Hat in the ring.
That what?
Right here. I said the three Republicans that decided to throw their hat in the ring and run against Trump.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if they are Democratic plants.
Who said that yesterday?
That's exactly what John has been saying all
Kyle,
week.
your boy said that yesterday. I said, I'm telling you right now that the Democrats have put these three up to it because this is any future political suicide. This is what they've done to themselves. Soros. It's Soros.
Doing your Alex Jones impersonation.
When it comes to Kamala Harris, wasn't she Willie Brown's little squeeze or prostitute or something like that?
Kyle's calling it like it is. He's right.
They did a whole lot more than squeeze.
Yeah, there was a lot of squeezing going on. A lot of squeezing. I'm getting my trumpet here. A lot of squeezing going on.
Da Mayor.
Yeah. So,
Mayor.
So, by the way, Kyle, I'm not sure how old are you? Any recollections of 9/11, buddy?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm 34.
Okay, so, you remember...
I was in high school.
High school.
When it happened.
What grade?
I was like 10th grade.
10th grade. Yeah.
And so...
you think the 10th graders today are reacting to it the way you did back then?
What's really scary is that summer I had actually traveled to France with a photography class.
Oh, really?
And it was like... That was in the end of June.
Yeah.
And so that was like a whole big thing. My teacher got freaked out. What if we were on the plane? But we weren't, lady, so chill out.
Yeah, Kyle, it's funny you mentioned that because the very next year, in April, I went to Spain. My girlfriend and I, we had gone to Spain, and we went to the bullfight. She had never been to a bullfight. My uncle was a bullfighter in Spain, so I used to go to a lot of bullfights. I don't want to hear it from the all the... I get why you don't like bullfights.
Oh, we don't care what they think anyway.
But anyway...
People eating tasty animals?
Yeah, right? Hey, they give the meat to the orphans. I don't know if that helps any. But anyway, what I do remember is that sitting there when people realized that I was American, how many people came to me just feeling like I am so sorry about what happened to New York and what happened to you guys. And it was very heartfelt. I mean, this people, across the ocean, and, they felt the effects of it. It was just horrible. So
No, that's the day, not only America stopped, the whole world stopped.
The whole world stopped, yeah.
Those two towers were the financial icons of the world.
Yeah. And, people forget what happened in 93, the original tower. I mean, there's a lot of stuff, man, that do you agree with Jairus, Kyle, that the kids today or young adults today, like, or just Americans in general, if we got attacked, do you think that we would unite the way we did 18 years ago?
Probably not.
You don't think so either, huh?
We would probably be more divided than ever because there would be so many, there's so many conspiracy theories out there now.
Yeah,
regardless
Kyle,
of what you think happened to those towers and Building 7 on that day, they fell and people died.
That breaks my heart that people would not rally the way they did because, that just breaks my heart because I don't want to think of America that way.
And the ones that would be the problem would be the millennials. I'm sorry, the millennials, they haven't disciplined these kids. Because you're not allowed to discipline your kid anymore.
Right, and they haven't taught them anything from history.
They haven't taught them anything. And like we were talking before, both parents have to work, so little Jimmy sits in the basement.
Yeah.
And just sees protests and goes, hey, I want to be a part of something. And, ends up being Antifa.
Yeah. It's such a sad commentary, but Kyle, you might be right. And Jairus feels the same way you do. I can't say that I don't feel the way you do. I just hope it's not right.
I understand that. For the sake of this country, I hope that wouldn't happen either.
Like I said earlier, I didn't want to see Barack. I didn't vote for him the first time. I didn't vote for him the second time, but I didn't want to see him do bad because he was the president. Yeah. Like you don't want to see your country do bad. And you're right. I mean, this generation, you got Bill Maher and these other people. I hope we go into a recession. It may hurt, but it'll get him out of here. I mean, what kind of person are you that would say something like that? So
that's bringing about prophecy, I believe. If you believe that in the book, in prophecy, that Magog is
so
Russia,
you're going to Ecclesiastes, you're going to Ezekiel 36, 37, 38, and 39, right?
Exactly, brother.
Yeah, I know it well. I've taught it a few times at the Fresno Rescue Mission. Hey, Kyle, as always, I love having you on the show, buddy. Thank you so much for the call.
Thank you.
All right. There you have it. He agrees with you.
And we think it's sad as well, too. I mean, it's tragic, but it's reality.
I tell you, I opened up this show with my father and, what he texted me regarding this country. And I feel bad for the military guys that they got to be questioning what did they fight for? This is not the America that they fought for. They fought for Americans to act this stupid, but it's still got to be very heart-wrenching to them. Yeah. So... anyways, guys, this was a quick hour, Jairus. Thank you. Man, we've had a good time this week.
I love it, man.
Yeah, we've really had a good time. We're going to have to make this a little more of a habit, I think, for sure. All right, guys, you listen to Talk Radio 1680 KGD. This is the John Meccico Show, and coming up after the break is the Guillermo Moreno Show. You're going to want to stick around for that. All right, guys, see you shortly.
Stay black.
And stay blessed. Hey, Facebook, we want to thank you so much. And Jairus and I are both on here. Let's see. Got 106 comments. How strong is that?
Beautiful.
Yeah. Michael, Sheila, Maria, 9/11 doesn't get any easier. No, not to those families, Maria. It definitely does not. So, hey, guys, I want to thank you so much for chiming in. A great hour. Stick around, please. Joan and Hope and Chris and Kyle, as you guys heard, Susie, great stuff, guys. So anyways, thank you so much, and we're going to be with you again tomorrow, but stick around for Guillermo Show because all three of us are going to actually be on the show. So all right, guys, thank you.
Continuous freak show coverage rolls on. And now, Guillermo Moreno, Jairus Jackson, and John Meccico.
All right, guys, welcome back to Talk Radio 1680 KGED.
You hanging in there, buddy?
We are.
Debate week?
Yeah, we're on. Hey, this has been good stuff. All right, so Guillermo Moreno will be with us shortly. So we wait with bated breath. Just
we wait for the dear leader with bated breath.
We do. So anyway, we've had a lot to talk about today. There's been some stories we haven't even covered. We'll try to towards the end, maybe, because there's a couple funny things that I'm dying to get to, but you just can't lead off the top of the hour with it. All right, so
are we gonna go? Listen, I don't.
What?
You're gonna go to Mims?
We have to do it. We have to do it.
All right, go ahead. No, just go
because
ahead.
You know what? It's all in California, right? The rest of the country is actually going to probably be dealing with stuff like this. I think it's important.
If one of the people on the debate stage tomorrow gets in there, you're all going to be dealing with this.
All right. So this is the story, guys. Fresno County Sheriff Margaret Mims on Tuesday said her office didn't hand over any undocumented people to federal immigration agents last year. She was being accused of doing that. All right. Apparently, there's something called, Mims presented that information during the Truth Act public forum at Fresno County Board of Supervisors. Under the act, local jurisdictions and law enforcement have been mandated to hold a public forum to let the community know about the local activities of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, also known as ICE.
Baby.
So, yeah.
Doom.
So
sorry, go ahead. Go ahead, John. Sorry about that.
So Senate Bill 54, also known as the state's sanctuary law, limits local law enforcement's cooperation with federal immigration agents, which, if you ask me, is downright retarded.
We talked about this earlier.
Yes.
John, this is how you know you're behind enemy lines, where people are making a tissy because your sheriff is working with ICE.
Yeah, exactly. Now,
she's not being, you know what it is? John, you know what it is? She's not being treasonous enough. She's not being... Sheriff Mims, shame on you for following the rule of law. You are not being treasonous enough for California.
So apparently she said, I feel somebody, I'm not even going to mention her name, I feel ICE threatens our immigrant community, alleging Mims helped facilitate its work locally.
And these are one of these just worthless community activists that their only job is to wreak havoc and push a liberal agenda on the smallest of communities.
This is insane. First off, the fact that this is even going on in this community doesn't make me feel any safer, and I can't imagine that it makes a lot of our residents feel any safer.
It's crazy. That's all you hear. Well, we have to make the immigrant, and you've already lost the battle if you're actually referring to them as immigrants, but they go out there. We have to make the immigrant community feel safe. What about making Americans feel safe?
Yes.
Is that a concern to anybody anymore? I've said it before, and especially when you read things about California, San Francisco, even down here in Fresno, what's the point of being a law-abiding, tax-paying citizen anymore? You're the one that gets spit in the face. Meanwhile, the rule breakers are living it up.
I love the way you said it, because we're the ones with the skin in the game, and we don't get looked after at all.
It's no different than these millennials who make next to nothing, so they pay next to nothing in taxes, and they're sitting up there talking about all this free stuff that you want. Okay, cool. Yeah, you want all this free stuff. Money's not going to be taken from you.
It is absolutely it's disgusting. All right, so the article goes on. The Fresno County Sheriff's Office released a one-page document. Good that it was one page. I like that wasn't 448 pages like the Mueller document. The Sheriff's County released this one-page document showing it had received 661 detainers requests to hold an individual beyond their jail release time for ICE in 2018, though none were processed. So what is it that they want? What ultimately happened to those 661 individuals who represented 2.1% of the 2018's total bookings isn't known. The document also shows that the sheriff's office handed over 3 inmates. This is where the big problem came in. All right. The document also shows the sheriff's office handed over 3 inmates to ICE in 2018. Mims made a correction on that statistic. You go, girl. Recent research into these cases show that these were actually not transfers. ICE took these inmates into custody after they left the secured area of the jail and were in the jail lobby, whatever. Look, if this is your biggest complaint about Margaret Mims, shame on you. This is a ridiculous. I don't even think. I think whoever brought this up were paid by the other side, paid by the Dems.
It's John's answer.
I'm sorry.
Everyone's paid by George Soros.
Paid by Soros.
Alex Jones coming on a little earlier tonight than usual.
Maybe it wasn't Soros, but I mean, who would bring up something so stupid?
Again, and you have this conversation on your show a lot.
Yeah.
These people in places of power in our government are more interested in catering to criminals than they are to us.
And I don't understand that because a lot of these criminals have no skin in the game.
John, you have to. We can't scare these illegal alien families, so we're going to let the illegal aliens run free in the community and scare you, the law-abiding taxpayer. Seems like a fair trade-off, right?
Cheers, because I went off on the subject we'll probably talk about next. How does anybody look at this and go, "Oh, this logically makes sense"? And our citizens will go for this. I mean, who are we voting for? I mean, Jairus,
it's not us.
I'm
it is
losing
not us.
Man. I'm losing it.
As usual in every single election, what we have to say in this region means absolutely nothing for the Golden Gate State and L.A. and all those places.
But how does a parent who has children, how do they go, this is going to be, because you worry about your children's safety, not your own. How do you look at this and you go, yeah, that's okay. Because this isn't safe for anybody. It's not. I don't understand where anybody would look at this and go, this is completely logical. We should do this. Nobody's looking out for you. Why? The people...
And it's more of just a needless...
more frustrated than anything.
And it's more of just a needless hysteria because she didn't even cooperate with ICE.
She didn't.
And you know what it is? And we talked about this earlier. It's nothing more... People today, young people, they stupid. All they're going to do is read the headline. They're not going to actually read the facts of the matter. First of all, if you're reading the Fresno Bee and it's not like us, you're reading it just to find stories to make fun of them. You're actually reading it for news. Facts probably aren't that big of a deal to you. But people are just going to read that headline and that's it.
So you're making my point that this generation just simply swipe left or swipe right and they don't care.
That's why it's... all you need is
and they want 16-year-olds to vote.
All you need is a salacious headline. That's it.
Oh,
and then you can just copy the story, and then just copy and paste the actual article because most people don't read it anyway.
Which I guess is why the New York Times does what it does and puts these false things on it because they're not going to read the article; they're just going to read the headline, and we're brainwashing them.
Exactly.
This can't stand. This cannot continue because nobody's doing a service. You're doing a disservice to the public. This cannot continue to happen. I don't know how to change it yet, but this cannot continue to happen. Voters have to get out there and you have to vote in a way that makes a statement that this cannot happen. I don't know where else to go with this. I like Margaret Mims. I've never met her personally, but I've been like in areas where she's been at the at the hospital and stuff like that. And
she's a CCW queen. We love her.
She comes across to me like she's fantastic.
Very straight-shoot individual.
Yeah, and that's actually what Stephen Brandow said. She's transparent. She bends over backwards to help people. What else do you want from this woman?
Lawlessness. We know this answer.
I mean,
is outright lawlessness.
What was that show on HBO? Westwood or Deadwood? Is that what it's coming down to?
I have no idea.
Oh, it was a great show. It was a great show. It came out after The Sopranos.
You're getting your way behind.
I know, you're too young. Anyway, if anybody knows Deadwood, you know what I'm talking about. It was all lawlessness.
All right, so in other news, which I don't know. So in other news, the Trump administration announced that they're going to be stepping in California, which the president has made these claims before that he wants to step in Chicago, help with the violence, step in Elijah Cummings' district, help with all the rats, but we can't because Trump's an evil racist, of course. The president now wants to try to get a hold on California's homeless crisis, and the people who created the crisis are basically saying, nah, we're good.
Yeah, so I think what President Trump tries to do is he tries to say, I'm going to ask politely. I'm not going to, I'm just going to suggest it. I'm going to put it out there.
Just a suggestion.
Let's just see, because he's a negotiator.
Yeah, part of the deal.
I'm asking you, come to the table. That's what I want from you. Come to the table. Let's talk. Let me see if I can help you. Let bygones be bygones. Let all the name calling. I mean, that's what he does. Now, if you're gonna criticize him for doing it, he's the ultimate counterpuncher. He's going to punch you back. I mean, that's what he does. But in this case, it's getting to the point, and Trump called it, what he's seeing in California, he called it disgusting, and it's a disgrace to our country, which it absolutely is. Am I wrong?
No, you're
right.
Good.
I'm not wrong. I mean, when you have a map that's covered in brown to tell your citizens, try not to step in these areas, and the map is large, and again, brown, which just makes it look bad. Really bad. I mean, it's one of the most disgusting maps you'll ever see in your life. Yeah, I think the Trumpsters going, I think we got to do something. If you're not going to handle it, maybe I got to handle it
But
for
it's
you.
one of those things where it's not just the leaders in a particular city or a particular state. I don't think the people would appreciate it. I honestly believe that if Trump and the federal government, if they went into San Francisco, if they went into Los Angeles and actually cleaned up those streets, a majority of the people, including the people who are taken off the streets because of it, would still hate it just because it's that evil, racist Donald Trump. And that is the sad fact of the matter. And this is why we talk about the liberals. We don't want to get too conspiratorial, talk about brainwashing and this stuff. But it really is to that point where it does not matter what the president can do. If the president gave everyone $1 million, they would be talking about why he didn't give everyone $2 million. That is a lot of people in this country. And there's literally nothing Trump can do to satisfy those people. So, again, why keep chasing and running around in circles trying to please people that you know are never going to like you? And we said this before. I don't like the idea of taxpayer dollars being used to clean up these liberal cities.
I don't either.
I hate it.
I don't either.
And guess what? If you want to vote with all of these facts that we've laid out, if you want to keep voting for Gavin Newsom, keep living in the shiznit. I don't feel bad for you. And we shouldn't use taxpayer dollars to fix the problem that you clearly are not even interested in fixing.
And this is mind-boggling to me because anybody that lives in the streets of L.A. or San Francisco, all you have to do is look left, look right, and you can say...
And look down.
Oh, definitely look down. You've got to recognize something is very wrong here. Very, very wrong. And I will say this, I've been, ever since I've had this radio show, I've talked about this. How is it that you can have a guy that has been on the show, has had his fingerprints on San Francisco since 2004, probably before that. He's the one common denominator for the last 15 years between being mayor of San Francisco, lieutenant governor of the state, and now governor of the state, and he keeps getting voted in? What is going on? How does that make any sense to anybody? All right. We got a caller. Let's hear what he's got.
Yeah, we'll get him on the other side of the break.
All right, let's get him on the other. Can we get him on the other? We'll do that. We'll have more time. Maybe we can do that. The point is, well, we got a lot of points to make here. We have a lot of points. So, guys, listen. Talk Radio 1680 KGED, and we are waiting for Guillermo Moreno. So, Jairus Jackson and myself filling in dutifully. Is that a word? Yeah.
What'd you say?
Forget it. See you at the end of the break. At the beginning.
Speak English, John.
I know.
English.
I'm trying to get to be a moderator.
The Central Valley's home for all things Campaign 2020. Talk Radio 1680 KGED. And now, Guillermo Moreno, Jairus Jackson, and John Meccico.
All right, guys, welcome back to Talk Radio 1680 KGED. And we have two of the three, Jairus Jackson and John Meccico, on the mics at this time.
We're waiting for that last puzzle piece to show up. Should be here any moment.
Yes, we are. We've been talking about Trump saying enough's enough with California, and it's just disgusting and disgraceful that they've let it get to be so bad, and he's offering to kind of come in and help out. And
but California is going to be that ungrateful, spoiled, rotten kid.
They're kind of hinting to that. We got a caller. We have Jeff on the line from Fresno. Jeff, hello. How are you?
All right. Hey, what's up, fellas? How you guys doing? Good?
We're doing okay.
All right. I agree with Trump on this. We do have we're under simultaneous jurisdiction as citizens. We're the citizens of our state, but we're also citizens of the national government, too, 14th Amendment. And, we're also citizens, I guess you could say, of our local governments, too. But, and when one or two levels aren't doing the job, one of them has to step up. When the feds don't do certain things, the state's got to do it. Like with immigration, when the feds are pushing all these people on our education systems, our other systems, then the states have the right, in my view, to say, no, we're not going to pay for illegal immigration. If the feds want to do it, they cough it up. In this case, it's the state and the locals that are not doing their job. And also, I think it represents a great opportunity for people that don't normally vote for us to see that, hey, we can make the trains run on time, so to speak.
I agree with you 100% that it would be a phenomenal opportunity. But at what point is it decided that, okay, Newsom's not doing the job and Trump comes in? Like, at what point is that actually accepted?
Yeah, because I don't think that'd be enough.
Yeah, that's a legit question. I agree there. But the point being is that we have a constitution, we have certain rights, and we're not subject to mob rule. Just because 60% of the people are so stupid that they vote for these clowns doesn't mean that the other 40% automatically have to suffer.
All right. What does it take to impeach Newsom? let's go there. Yeah. Let's get Nadler on the case.
Look, that won't happen because we've got 20 Republicans in the whole state assembly now. So the only other way is recall, and I don't see a recall working unless you have a guy the way the Schwarzenegger thing was, where you have a guy that is from our side who has wide appeal, who is well known. I think that Travis Allen would be a great guy for that kind of thing, but I don't see him stepping up and leading the charge, even though he could, and there's still time to do that. But a recall is not going to work unless you have a figure to come in and replace the person being recalled. And so, when it comes to a lot of these issues, again, the rest of us aren't supposed to suffer under literally bubonic plague type,
I know, now they're talking about leprosy.
As a result. It has to be an extreme emergency, in my view, though. I agree that we don't just let the federal government come in and willy-nilly say, hey, you know what, the garbage was picked up late last Tuesday, therefore we're federalizing the garbage truck. Yeah. It's got to be, we got bubonic plague threatening to hit L.A. We've got, in San Francisco, we've got heroin needles all over the place and things like that. And, unfortunately, these are one of those times where those two cities in particular, leftards, pardon my French, they have such a grip on it, globalists, and, they're communists, they're neo-Marxists, they're globalists. They have such control over the political machinery that the regular good citizens simply don't have another route other than asking for a different level of government to come in and do their job. Nobody has the power to override Sacramento except for Washington, D.C. in this case. And generally, for the feds to jump in, I would agree. You guys have made some great points that it has to be sparingly and it has to be an actual emergency, because obviously the next time a Democrat has the White House, if Trump is just willy-nilly jumping in, then you know what he's going to do. Any conservative state out there, he's going to say, well, I don't like what Alabama and Louisiana are doing, so I'm going to jump in and nullify their policies in effect. So, but you know what I'm saying? It has to be a real situation, and I think massive disease outbreak, being that it could spread to other areas, that fits.
Because it is one of those damned if you do, damned if you don't. Because it's the government's job is not to come in and really put a Band-Aid on the fact that you don't know the right people to vote for. If you want these socialist policies, you got to live with them. But it is that balance of when does the government have to step in.
Yeah, exactly. So, and I would say definitely in the case of the threat of disease widespread like that, because,
let's get to that point
anybody
real soon.
driving a truck long haul from Texas to Los Angeles has the very real possibility of a rat getting into his vehicle that's carrying the plague, and all of a sudden it becomes a Texas problem. And then from there it could become a Georgia problem, a Kentucky problem. So if you can, I think the balancing act there would be, is the problem that is in question, does it have the real potential to spread to other states? Yeah. And if it does, that's when the federal government can say legitimately, we step in, because if it's not handled, then we've got 20 states that have this issue rather than one. If it was just strictly homeless only, let's say, well, hey, that is California's issue, because, a homeless guy isn't going to, affect 15 states at the same time.
Jeff, listen, as always, a great call. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jeff.
Have a great day. He's right.
It's tough.
It's a tough situation. It's a very, very tough situation. But I mean, honest to God, they shouldn't be asking Trump not to.
Read about the mayor. I mean, it's to the point now to where they're accusing Trump of being the one that's grandstanding.
Yeah, this was absolutely hysterical. Just absolutely hysterical.
And can we remind everyone that these are the people who have caused and enabled this problem?
Oh, absolutely.
Just so we can remember that.
Oh, we're going to hit on this. So San Francisco Mayor London Breed said, we need federal support and resources to build more housing for people living on the streets. But simply cracking down on homelessness without providing the housing people need is not a real solution. You clearly don't have a solution. Now, when I read this, I'm like, this is like Baltimore. You just want money, like the $1.8 billion that was given to Baltimore, and nothing happened.
And no accountability.
And no accountability. It's not a money situation. You know what it is? You gotta get small businesses that can do business in California again, so these homeless people can get a job, so that money can start circulating around the city and people will start caring for the city. Maybe you should try that. Maybe you should clean up the crap. Maybe you should stop having all the illegal immigrants going there, providing them all that health care that they shouldn't have. And because this is what you're going to do. You think you're going to build all these homes and that's going to take care of all the homelessness when you got a bunch more people trying to get through the border to try to get to your place? Because, man, they're going to give me free shelter and they're going to give me free medical care and I don't have to have a job. Oh, yeah. Brilliant.
And $1,000 a month, depending on who goes president.
Right? Oh, that's just brilliant on your part. Brilliant.
And it's
idiotic. It doesn't make any sense. But it's simple math. If you can just do arithmetic, you can figure this out.
All the people who have enabled this problem are simply sitting there skeptical. I love that. Oh, I'm skeptical of the president's You can't afford to be skeptical. Your city is drowning in poop. You cannot afford to be skeptical.
Yeah, how's it going for you now? How's it working for you now?
I'm skeptical that you know what the hell you're doing.
I'm skeptical that you would not want Trump there. Now, Los Angeles. Oh, actually, let's go to Nathan Click, your chief spokesman for Governor Newsom. He said that President Trump was partly to blame for this. If the president is willing to put serious solutions with real investment on the table, California stands ready to talk. That's the word. I need real investment. I need money. Right?
That's all they want. And we talked about this. Their answer is what has caused this problem. Just throwing more money at it.
It's not going to help.
No,
look at Baltimore.
No.
It is not going to help. And talking about the plan that he cut food stamps and cut health care, what you're doing is not working. You need help. California needs help. Don't be so prideful that you don't ask for it. Please. I hate what I'm seeing. I hate reporting this. I would love to report how great things are going. But this is a tragedy. And whether you like Trump or not, he's right. It's disgusting.
It's not about politics. It's not about liking Trump. It's not about your loyalty to Trump, or is it to Newsom? It's about allegedly what every public servant claims that they want to do, which is help people. But they're actually fighting this at the moment. 442-1680, 559-442-1680. We got a lot of people on the line wanting to get involved, but I got to tell you that not one person is in any position. You're not in the position to turn down Trump's
You're
help.
absolutely
What did
not.
you call it earlier? They're like the broke college student. You don't turn down money. Oh, your money's no good with me. No, that's not the case. All right.
No, you can't.
It's the same thing here. Your town, your city, your state as a whole is in such bad shape. I don't care where the help is coming from. You need to take it because you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Couldn't say it any better myself. There it is. Jerris Jackson preaching it. Guys, listen to Jerris Jackson.
I learned from the churchless Reverend Al Sharpton.
There you go. All right, guys, we'll be back after the break.
And now, the three ringleaders trying their best to make sense of this circus. Guillermo Moreno, Jairus Jackson, and John Meccico.
Guillermo Moreno in studio. Appreciate the...
You've gotten a little shorter, John.
I grew hair. And I grew
You got shorter and you grew hair through the commercial break.
That's right.
It's amazing.
That's the magic of these debate week specials.
That's right.
You're listening to a debate week special here. The big day tomorrow.
Yes.
D-Day.
Yeah.
Dumb Day. D-Day is
I like that.
tomorrow. The Democrats will be hitting the stage in Houston, and I guarantee you right now they are setting up the stage. They're setting up the lights.
You did hear the news about moderators, right?
No, is everybody okay?
No,
I want to make sure everyone's okay.
Well, here's the
Jorge
thing.
Ramos.
Well, the DNC actually has made a
4-hour debate.
No.
Instead of a 3-hour debate.
3.
All right,
but the
3 hours.
DNC has made a commitment to increasing the diversity of debate moderators this cycle and has agreed to...
An Asian debate moderator.
Hold on.
That's what we haven't had. We had a white
Gosh.
person. We've had many white people, all right, as debate moderators. We had Don Lemon, the black
Colored.
Representing,
Colored.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how they like
He's
to
black.
be referred to.
And then we've had a Latino, the Telemundo guy.
Okay. So
Do we have an Asian moderator?
The DNC...
we have an Asian moderator?
The DNC, along with all the networks that are going to be hosting a debate for the rest of the primary, have agreed to have at least one person of color and at least one female moderator at every debate.
Wow. All right.
So I guess I'm sure, do people of colors count as Asians?
I don't know.
What strand of Asian are there? There's like 15.
It's kind of like Latinos. You know what I mean? Because you have listen.
Are there multiple kinds of Latinos?
Oh yeah, like you can't listen. You go. My best man at my wedding was Venezuelan, right?
Okay.
Venezuelan, Sam, and they missed it.
Is he eating good? Like he's not malnourished,
he's
right?
fine.
Okay.
He's a CFO of a hospital. He's eating. He's eating damn good.
Wait. So he left the socialist country, came to capitalist America, and now homeboy's living good.
Florida, huge Republican. All right.
all right.
We got to get Sam on the list.
I was just about to say.
Hey, Sam's like me. It's funny because I saw him do a speech for his hospital.
Yeah.
And I swear, it's like looking in the mirror. Like we have the same mannerisms. It's that vegetarian food. I'm telling you. We have the same mannerism. We tell the stupidest jokes.
He's Latino?
He's Venezuelan. Yeah,
okay,
so he's Latino.
Sorry.
Anyway, back what I was saying.
Maybe he's your brother. Who knows?
He's not my brother. He's Venezuelan.
It's just turned into the Maury Povich show.
Oh, my mom's not listening. No, he's anyhow. And they mistook him for Mexican. Oh, he was just like offended.
So here's my question, just really quick: does that offend? Like in the Mexican community? Like, so if I went up to him and I'm like, "Are you Mexican?" That wouldn't flow well. They get pretty mad.
Offended. Yeah, he'd get
really?
Offended. Oh yeah. Because
that's the same with Asians too.
Don't
you call a Korean person Chinese?
Oh no. And you know what gets me mad is like Latinos, Asians, they expect you to know the difference.
That's what I don't like.
That's like, well, wait a minute, I don't know.
If I go up to you and I'm like, "Sir, are you Korean?" You should punch me in the face. But if that's an honest mistake, how mad can you really get? I mean, come on.
In the black community, Jairus, is it like?
No, we all look the same. We all look the same, so there's no confusion there. It's us and then the weird ones that wear the African dresses. That's it.
My God.
Nothing to worry about there, buddy.
Anyhow, I did go to one of the most diverse universities in the world. Yeah, and so when you say the African dresses, like
you had that, right?
Oh yeah, the Swede. Now Africans from Africa are so sweet. I mean, they are. They're not like radicalized Antifa members. They're humble.
Well, usually,
they appreciate,
and we're not making jokes at all. Usually, the radicalization from Africa is Muslim. Is when the radicalization takes place from there. Did you see any of that?
I think it's our, and it's going to tie into our 9/11. I think it's our American culture and the left that's really radicalizing minorities into leftist socialists. It's the media. It's the media. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what race. You got socialist Latinos.
Socialist blacks.
Socialist black. Let's just be honest. I mean, socialist white people.
They're the worst. The white socialists.
It literally is. It transcends cultural lines. Crazy
the stupidity knows no color, and it's crazy because everyone talks about, "Oh, you guys."
Wait. Hold on. Wait. And we're talking about ethnicities, right? And have you seen an Asian socialist, not Andrew Yang?
No.
Yeah.
In fact, if I may say, California Republican Party, one of the biggest non-white groups that we have, are Asians. Actually, and the party has actually made a big play for Asians.
That's very true.
So I don't know.
I'm just saying,
Andrew Yang might be the one Asian that's a socialist, and he's the one that claims to be smart.
His math is off. His math is off.
Just
All right,
math, bro.
Let's go out to Molly in Clovis.
Is this Molly? I love me some
love
Molly.
Molly.
Oh, I love me some Jairus Lee.
How you doing? I haven't seen you.
Guillermo Moreno.
How you doing, Molly? You enjoy?
Good, how are you?
Good. Well, we were just talking about how stupid knows no ethnicity, and Democrat stupidity transcends all bounds.
Okay, I have to weigh in on this because you know I've done my fair share of rallies.
Yes.
Okay, hands down, the worst are the white liberals.
Yes.
Really?
Hands down.
Yes.
Really?
I will, and look, if I have to hang out with a liberal, give me a Mexican liberal. Give me a black liberal. Any day over a white one.
Don't.
Any day. Any day.
I'm telling you, the white ones are the worst.
Are they really?
And
Really?
those are the ones that are so self-righteous.
Mm-hmm.
We'll have a rally. They'll come over to our side of the street like they know better, and they're going to school us. And then they'll call us a bunch of racist Nazis. And a couple of the girls in our group are Latina.
Yeah.
And they're like, we're Latina. What are you talking about? You're calling us racist Nazis, and we're Latina. And then all of a sudden the guy's like, oh, shoot. Like,
You didn't know this?
How do I
didn't.
get myself out of this situation? And then he's like, well, I didn't know, and, I'm just trying. And then so he's totally trying to think of an out, and it's like they just think because if you're light enough skin, then, you're white. And it's like, no. They're like, no, I'm Latina. You're not going to get around this. You just called me a racist Nazi, and I'm Latina, and you're white. And then all of a sudden it just, goes crazy.
I think they're overcompensating. They're a liberal at a college campus or whatever, and they're white, and they want to seem as woke, if not more woke, than their black friends or their Mexican friends.
Yep,
So
yep.
they turn it up to a 10. Meanwhile, the black liberal is standing there like, listen, I may not agree with everything you think, but even I know that person's crazy. That's what it is.
Yeah, and it's the older white liberals.
It's the ones who hang out outside Devin Nunes's office.
White liberals.
Yes, those are the worst. Like the Santa Cruz.
I'm telling you, if you had to have me hang out with a liberal, I'm avoiding the old white liberal like the plague.
Yes. Avoid the ones who are always protesting outside Nunes's office. Those are the worst. Those are the worst ones.
Oh man. So Molly, there was a rally today, right? A local rally?
Yeah, we did an impromptu 9/11 rally out here in Clovis for a couple hours.
And how'd it go?
Streamed it on Frontline America.
Nice.
And it was good. It was interesting because I made a sign that said "Never forget 9/11," and I've got my USA hat, my America shirt. We're all stars and stripes, and then I'm holding an American flag with the Never Forget sign. And then Ben's there, and he was all Americaned out, except he had his Trump hat on. That was the only thing that was political, was just his hat. So we're standing on the corner, and this car comes up to the stoplight, and she goes, F Trump.
Oh, my.
And he goes, excuse me? And she goes, F Trump. And he goes, and then I pointed my sign, more in her direction. And he goes, excuse me, we're out here, in remembrance of, those that have lost their lives on 9/11. And then she goes, oh. And she goes, well, I have respect for, those that have died, but, I still, I still don't like Trump. And then they just kind of turned in the other direction and turned right to get away from us. And I was like, that's pretty sad when their Trump derangement syndrome is worse than their patriotism.
That's, Molly, and I'll tell you what, I have to commend you and the group that went out there and did this impromptu, patriotic rally. Do you feel that America has forgotten? We vowed never to forget 18 years ago. Have we forgotten?
Yeah. Do you know every single car should have been honking? Every single one of them. And we did not get a lot of honks.
Yeah, that's my.
We had some people like give us the thumbs up, because they don't want to out themselves. But it was. Yeah.
Well,
I was pretty shocked. Let's just say.
Well,
I thought way more cars should be honking their horn. But I don't know if they're kind of a little triggered by the never forget, like if they think, what are they trying to, how the liberals are always trying to spin things?
Yeah.
What is that supposed to mean?
You know what the liberals have done is they have effectively, unfortunately, tied patriotism to white nationalism. Is essentially what they've been able to do.
And patriotism to political parties.
The media has really created this environment. I mean, come on. The flag is offensive. On 9/11, Molly, you remember, on 9/11, the flag was not
on any
offensive.
day. Come on now. On any day.
I know.
Well, no. I think.
Did you hear about that one rally in Oregon where a member of Antifa showed up like a little later than the rest of the guys, and he showed up with an American flag, and they didn't know he was on their, because a lot of them, wear, they cover up.
Yeah.
Anyway, they got so triggered by his American flag, they beat the tar out of one of their own members.
I did not know that.
Did you guys hear about
I didn't hear
that?
about that. No. Because the media won't talk about that.
They beat the tar out of one of their own guys because he had the audacity to bring the American flag. So they thought he was one of our people. So now having an American flag is the equivalency in their mind of being a Trump supporter.
Yeah, exactly. You said it. You hit it right on the money. It is.
They beat up their own guy. Was he a member of Antifa?
He was a member of Antifa. Yeah.
Member of Antifa or the Republican Party? Which one? He's beating up on his own.
You can't make this stuff up. These people are just, truly. And if you've ever seen the pictures of the people that get arrested,
talk about deranged.
They're like the dregs of society.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It is.
They're the real deplorables.
It is pretty bad. That's why they got to cover up.
Exactly.
That's why they got to cover up because. Anyhow, Molly,
we love you,
we love you, Molly. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're welcome. Keep at it, guys. Keep doing what you're doing.
We'll put up the good fight, even if we get kicked out of places. You know what I mean, Molly?
Oh, yeah.
All right, Molly, we appreciate you. That's an insider joke,
okay,
everybody. Insider
have
joke.
A good night.
You too. We appreciate Molly. She's out there. Yeah, why not do a patriotic rally today?
We've been having that. Do you mind if I pose that question to you, though? Because me and John and I have been talking about that since too.
What's your question? Yes. Okay. Now, what's your? I do that quite a bit, and I'm right like 75% of the time.
Well, let's see if you're going to be right there.
All right, go
ahead. Okay, it's an open-ended thing. John and I have been talking. We had been on since 2. Do you think if a 9/11 style attack of that magnitude happened today, do you think our country would be able to come together as much as we did back then?
I think so.
Okay, so never mind, because I'm going to believe we wouldn't be able to at all.
We would, because
no, but not that would come together. We would come together like after that attack, those high of levels. I don't think so. Would there be some type of unity? Yeah, but it would be nowhere near. It would be nowhere near. The days following 9/11 is how it should be in this country every single day, every single year. And I don't think we would be able to return to that.
I think if we were attacked to that magnitude and it did not involve a gun, because that's but if we were involved,
guns and airplanes kill people, according to the New York Times.
Yeah, according to the left, airplanes kill people, period. But I believe, I think we do. I still have, I have faith in the American people that if an attack where almost 3,000 individuals lost their lives in multiple locations, I have hope that we could unite together like we did on September 11th. I will say this, there's a caveat though. But you will still, I think you'll hear this time kind of a little opposition. And that little opposition group will be the leftist media.
And you're going to hear a rush to politics.
It would be.
Which you did not have.
Exactly. I think we, I think we would be able to do that. I would say this, though. Do you think the United States right now is susceptible to an attack like that?
Oh, yeah, of course.
You do?
Yeah. In fact, I'm not even really sure it would be a safe bet to ever say at any time in history.
Yeah.
in the past or going for it that we. Oh no, there's no chance that that's going to happen.
And the reason is because of homegrown terrorism.
Yeah.
You have a lot of. Listen, Obama messed up. Obama's years were pretty crucial.
Yeah.
He talked about ISIL. Sorry.
I hated hearing
he didn't say
that
ISIL. It was. Let me be clear. ISIL is a very small group, and
what type of team are they, Mr. President?
They're
What
the
type of
JV team.
Okay.
They will never amount to much, and we should not be giving them any type of credibility.
All right.
Because they are a JV team. ISIL. There's an ISIL. He couldn't even say extreme. Islamist extreme. He couldn't say that.
Yeah.
So we lost some pretty valuable time with this group. But, I think we could be susceptible to an attack like that on a mass scale again because of homegrown terror. And no, you don't need a gun to implement that type of that type of atrocity.
And no, we're scared. Homegrown terror, period. Not white homegrown terror or black homegrown terror, just homegrown terror. It's amazing how many people get scared or don't get scared based off the skin color. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We might have some homegrown terror. Yeah, from white people, of course. Oh, so you only care if it's white people.
I think
it's unbelievable.
I think there's a good question. I think we could be united like 9/11. Let me ask you, what do you think?
I said hell no. It would
really.
It'd probably
Why
break the country apart, most likely. Because the only thing that kept this country together after 9/11 was our ability to unite. I don't think we'd be able to do that again.
Why not? We're too divided?
We're too divided politically. Yeah, we're too divided. Bernie Sanders, did you see the email he sent out this morning to his supporters?
No.
Talking about how America, our endless war. He basically went anti-war, liberal, Nixon days hippie. That's what he did the morning of 9/11. No mention about victims, none of that. Just America's costly wars and the sloppy, and he attacked George Bush on 9/11.
Yeah.
I love attacking George Bush, all right? But today's not the day to do it, for crying out loud.
And I asked Molly, I asked her, hey, have we forgotten?
Yes.
I agree.
Now,
we have forgotten.
How old are you?
I'm 34.
Okay. I'm only 19.
Yeah.
This year, by far.
So you were one.
Yeah, I was nothing. Pretty much. What use is
you were a twinkle in your mother's eye.
What use is a 1-year-old?
Your
all right.
eye.
What use is a 1-year-old? They crap. All right. They yell. They scream. There's no use for them. All right. I sound like I'm pro-choice right now, don't I?
Yeah, you do. Yeah.
All right, anyway,
there's use for them. There's use for babies.
But anyway, no, I remember absolutely nothing from the morning. But do you think it seems like even 6 years ago we cared more on the anniversary of 9/11? I was amazed today. I was watching the news before 9:30. They had already moved on to John Bolton, which was like big news yesterday. It amazed.
Well, look at Fox. Look at Fox behind you. They're talking about the collapse of our higher education. Talking about college.
Now that's at 5:55. But I remember the days where you couldn't find anything except 9/11 news on all the major news networks. And now it's a little thing that they mention. They do the little generic whatever. Fox News had the names of the victims scrolling at the bottom earlier this morning. But 19 years, I've never seen the country as a whole not give a damn that it's the anniversary of 9/11 more than I have today.
It's only going to get worse.
What about you? You've had a few more decades.
Okay. I was in high school. I was a junior in high school.
What do you think? Like, have you seen that today is just? Have you noticed a trend? Because I remember,
you know what? I have.
I remember just a few years ago we cared more.
Yeah, I went out to a restaurant for lunch. Okay. All right, and as I was paying, there was another gentleman in front of me, and the cashier, probably about my age. You know what he told the customer in front of me?
What?
As soon as they ended their transaction, he said, "Oh, happy 9/11." He literally said,
"What?
Happy 9/11." And I stopped and I said, "Wait a minute."
He said happy
9/11. And I stopped.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
Happy engagement. Happy 9/11.
He said happy 9/11. And the guy was like, "Oh, thanks." And just walked out. So I don't,
Again, that goes to we don't even understand the seriousness of it. People just don't care.
Yeah, and I think that was lost a long, long time ago.
But that's the thing is, I don't know about being lost a long, long time ago, because I remember just 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was more, people cared more about this day. People do not care. They don't. I don't know if you heard earlier. You know how many people I've unfollowed on Instagram today? If you're going to go on Instagram and post about your shoes today, I want nothing to do with you anymore, okay? That's the only post you're going to make about your shoes, about some song that you like. You and that song can go leave, because I don't need it anymore.
Listen,
people just don't care.
Who do you blame it on? I blame it on the media. I blame it on the 24-hour news cycle. That's who I blame it on. And there was a time.
It's a thing, too, about the decline, and we've seen it where patriotism after 9/11 in the months following was at like 70%.
Oh, it's high.
Now we're at like 45.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but if you don't have a burning love for America, or even a little bit of a love for America, America being attacked is just, I hate to say it. If you don't love this, in fact, if you think this country is evil and you think that this country basically just needs to be taken out and completely old yellered and we need to restart from the bottom up, if you don't love this country, it's going to be really hard. Maybe if you're just a decent person, you'll feel bad for the lives lost, but it is really hard for in your soul you to feel bad if you hate this country, which a lot of people outwardly do. And you can't expect some college kid that's been told their whole life America sucks, it's this evil, terrible place. You can't expect them on 9/11 to feel bad for a country that they don't even care about.
I agree. And it's, listen, I blame the media.
Yes.
I blame social media, and I blame the evolution of 24-hour politics. There was a time when candidates for president didn't run this far out. We didn't talk about it this far out.
Only the weirdos that had no chance were running right now.
The Dennis Kuciniches, remember that? It's, and that's the reality. It's really American culture that has bred this type of, it's almost distaste for America, because this if you do not remember 9/11, you need to go around the world on a worldwide trip to realize how great this nation is. And that's probably just we had it too easy. We've had it too easy. Nothing on a drastic measure has happened like 9/11 since 9/11. We've forgotten because we're living a pretty cush life.
And it's what you said about the 24-hour news cycle. Something else is coming soon. Something else will be here by tomorrow. We'll completely forget about this.
One more hour here on Today. Tomorrow, we're going to be carrying the debate live right here. Come back another hour here with Guillermo Moreno and Jairus Jackson. Yeah, dude, I about slapped that guy.
Happy 9/11.
With a closed fist. Yeah. Dude,
I had to think about it. So you punched him, not slap. I had to think about it. Wait, how do you slap someone?
It was at P.F. Chang's. And I was up there paying, and the guy, seriously, was like, to the guy, Happy 9/11. He's like, oh, yeah,
and he just went along with it. Happy 9/11.
I was like, and he wasn't because he left. So he went back into the kitchen.
You want to know what's worse? So at the top of the show, I forget what I said, but at the top of the show, I basically said, and today as we celebrate 9/11. And then I came back, obviously, and covered it up. I felt bad for 30 minutes. I felt bad for 30 minutes. Like, what are you, a moron? How dare you say celebrate 9? Meanwhile, this idiot's out there just saying, Happy 9/11.
Yeah, happy 9/11,
okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, I was like, dude, anyway, I should have walked out of the restaurant without paying.
More importantly, what'd you eat for lunch?
P.F. Chang's.
No, what would you get there?
Tofu lettuce wraps.
All right, good.
Yeah, and my wife had the egg drop soup. Not feeling too well, so.
Your wife's sick?
Yeah, she's not feeling too well.
She was fine.
I know.
What happened?
I don't know.
Stomach flu?
Sore throat. You know when the times change?
Yeah.
And it starts to get cooler.
Speaking of time, listen, I'm very excited for cooler weather.
You're telling me.
I almost needed an extra blanket this morning. Almost need an extra blanket. That was great.
All right, folks, we appreciate you guys tuning in on Facebook.
Are we going to go at it? What time is it? We got one more hour.
We got one more hour. There's this one audio that I put on our Facebook, and it's of this one. I think it's one of the.
And Sheila, we don't know if Sheila's watching, but we're going to get to you.
Yeah,
in
Sheila, we'll get to you.
Second hour.
Did you watch that audio from the Young Turks? He's like a contributor to the Young Turk. And he had said that America deserves 9/11. I posted it a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen that. Yeah, I forget.
I got it right.
Cenk Uygur is the creator of Young Turks, and this is his nephew.
The Young Turks contributor Hassan Piker says America deserved 9/11.
Yeah. Yeah, Jane said American exceptionalism. I mean, that's a dirty word.
Yeah, what? I haven't heard that for about a year.
I think it's more important. It is. I think it is more appropriate to say the phrase "F America" in public schools than it is American exceptionalism.
Let me play this real quick.
Ourselves, dude. Holy shit. We did.
I can't play
We
this.
fucking did in a video game.
Let me play this. I can't play this.
This is so insane.
All right, guys, this is
We
the
don't
Young
have an
Turk.
edited version?
No.
America deserved 9/11, dude. Fuck it. I'm saying it.
We're there to partner with them. we're not there doing our own thing. We're there partnering and training,
video
and
game.
equipping, and enhancing their capabilities. So that's part of what we're doing. And the other part is just knowledge. We want to know what's happening.
Like, we fucking totally brought it on ourselves, dude. Holy shit. We did. We fucking did. In a video game, whatever, hypothetically, politically, we fucking did, man. We did. Holy shit.
So potty mouth, man.
Man, liberals really are of the belief all they have to do is just
look
stop.
at the way
Well, I love
that
how
this
he's
dipshit
just
is
saying
running his fucking mouth.
You can't say it's
justifying genocide right now.
Cut it off.
Like, how is this? How is anything I'm saying controversial? Like, we fucking fund the people who did 9/11 still to this day. Donald Trump literally went on national television and said they buy $10 billion worth of weapons.
His Trump impersonation ain't bad. I got to give him that, though.
Legal permanent resident. It's okay.
We can't play it. Yeah.
Hey, are we gonna?
Continuous freak show coverage rolls on. And now, Guillermo Moreno, Jairus Jackson, and John Meccico.
You prayed, you answered that most dreaded call, and your life changed forever. To each of you, the First Lady and I are united with you in grief. We come here in the knowledge that we cannot erase the pain or reverse the evil of that dark and wretched day. But we offer you all that we have, our unwavering loyalty, our undying devotion, and our eternal pledge that your loved ones will never, ever be forgotten. 18 years.
9/11, 18 years later, and I agree with the president. I hope that we will never forget, but the reality is we have forgotten. Jairus Jackson joining me in studio here on our day 3 of our debate week coverage. Debate is officially going on tomorrow,
Correct.
but we don't need to be. Listen, we have 2 days of talking about that circus that's going to unfold. It's 9/11. And
are we going to spend all of 5 minutes on it? Like maybe
9/11? No, we're not. We'll probably.
But then we might have to actually remember it. Then, Guillermo. I know we said we wouldn't do that, but we didn't mean that.
Yeah, no, that's very true. That's what the mainstream media is doing today. And have you seen this? Well, you know what? First off, I'm just ready. I'm rearing to go. That caffeine is kicking in now. So these are my reasons that prove that we have forgotten. All right. Reason number 1, it's generational. You know, people tend to forget when it starts to get this far away. It's just reality.
And it's scary because we're actually not that far away.
We're not, but 18 years away from that, it's pretty significant.
Yeah,
because that means babies weren't people weren't born yet.
Yeah,
you have 18 years, or they were in the womb, or however you want to. Well, it depends if you take that into consideration of life. There's other days to talk about pro-life as well. It's a significant number because most of the seniors in high school today don't remember it. They have no significance. I mean, it has no significance. And they're literally reading it in a textbook.
Yeah.
They're seeing pictures.
Probably not even paying attention with everything else.
Well, that's a big, if they're reading it in the textbook, if they're reading at all. Generational that's number 1. Number 2, the lack of patriotism.
Yeah.
The lack of patriotism is seen everywhere. And you had said, listen, Guillermo, you can't have the flag out there anymore. You know, you can't have the flag out there without offending someone. I remember I was a junior in high school when 9/11 happened, and I remember, you know, we flew the flag proud. You saw the flag everywhere. We were together. We were one America.
American patriotism was at like 71%.
It was one of those, like, you know, it reminded me of we were all in a what's the guy, Made in America,
Toby Keith.
It was like, you know, it was like we were. What's that one song he sings that talks about this?
It's called Made in America.
Oh, is it? All right,
when we come back from the break, we'll play it.
It was like everybody. It was like living in that song.
Everyone was in the middle of a country music video.
A Toby Keith music video. And it was like, oh, who's going to mess with us?
Nobody.
Mess with us? No, you ain't going to. You know, that's the way it was.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, patriotism was I don't want to say at its pinnacle, because obviously
was there? I guess. I mean,
maybe kind of the founding of the.
I feel like we were pretty united after we beat back the British.
Yeah,
we were probably a pretty united country.
So yeah, seems that we have forgotten that too. So, but no, and you want to know the biggest teller that we have forgotten are individuals and what they have said and the treatment, really, of our men and women are not in uniform. Let's go with what they have said. You know, we played the Young Turk during the break, and he cusses too much, but he
almost cussed too much for Facebook. Facebook was like, calm down.
Yeah, guys, we got to get rid of this. But, you know, there's people that say we deserve 9/11.
Yes.
Which is...
and they aren't fringe people. He's a contributor to the Young Turks, which is billions of views. This isn't like... Yeah. Again, these aren't the old school days where if you say that, you're relegated to a rag of society. On the left, you're promoted. They love you.
Yeah, absolutely. And then you have, obviously, Ilhan Omar. Some people did something.
Yeah.
You know, some people did something.
And then the New York Times is right there to say that something was airplanes.
Yeah.
Not hijackers, not radicalism. No, just the airplanes.
And then you look at the men and women in New York. You know,
of all places.
In New York, of all places, where these first responders were praised and were loved the following days.
Yeah.
Right? Now they dump buckets of water on them.
Again, it goes back to if a 9/11 event happened today, do you think first responders would get that much love?
I don't think they're going to love the first responders, but I think we, deep down, I believe deep down in the soul of our country, someone messes with us like that again, we're going to come together. You know, albeit we'll come together for a little bit, but I think it's going to happen.
Might get us together for all of 25 hours, but
maybe. Yeah, maybe. I mean, do I think the United States Congress is going to go out there and sing God Bless America again? I do. I really do.
Are we going to make freedom fries? Remember the Capitol Hill restaurant? Freedom fries?
Freedom fries. There's nothing wrong with that. Damn Frenchies. But no, I believe we could, or you know, we could come together like that as a country. The biggest issue is the 24-hour news cycle, Jairus. Let's just be honest. Politics is nonstop. People are talking about, oh, we're so divided. We'll never come together again. And the reality is because we talk about politics nonstop.
And we're always fishing for listen, as sad as it is to say, 9/11's not new. Happened 18 years ago. And what always the lead, always the biggest thing is whatever is new.
What's sexy?
Exactly.
Because it's ratings.
Yeah.
You know, Fox News and CNN, they're not nonprofit organizations. You know what I mean?
They're not. You mean Don Lemons doesn't do that out of the kindness of his heart?
They don't. And they don't love journalism. Nor journalistic integrity. They don't like it.
He loves his contract that gives him millions of dollars a year. That's what he loves.
It's money.
Yeah.
You know, it's money, and it's not sexy anymore. You know what's sexy, right? Trump. And that hair. No.
Wow.
I knew I was going to get you on that one. No,
but you did throw me off when you said
that. That's no, let's be honest. That's, you know, it sells.
Yeah.
You know, people love controversy, right? Mm-hmm. They love, you know.
And think about it. People, you just hit the nail. People love controversy. And when 9/11 happened, there was no controversy.
Yeah.
If you said anything along the lines of America deserved, right? The mafia came, they knocked on your door, and there was nothing to deal with you anymore.
Yeah, if you would have said that after 9/11.
If you would have said what he said, the day.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, what's your name?
Yeah.
What's your name? I think my name is, you're gone. No one ever sees you again. That's how it would have happened.
Yeah, no, it is. Have you seen this in the media today? The left, and we should have known that they were going to do this, the left has now also agreed that we have forgotten. You know that? Did you see that? Leftists and leftist organizations are also saying we have forgotten by electing President Trump. Yeah. No, and listen, let me.
Now, I would argue.
No, let me pull this.
Okay.
No, go ahead. You argue.
Well, no, I would just argue that we have forgotten, but the proof is not electing Donald Trump. The proof is electing a certain congresswoman from Michigan. and
Minnesota.
In Minnesota.
And Minnesota.
That's the proof. Well, and hell, just throw her in there, a congresswoman from the Bronx.
Yeah.
That's the biggest show of proof that we have forgotten, not electing Donald Trump.
Have you seen this website here? It's Salon.
Yeah, Salon, yeah.
Yeah, is it Salon? Am I saying it right?
Yeah.
Pretty fair. Pretty fair. This is what
Fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced, yeah. So this is what they, let me see if I can pull it up here for everybody watching.
So their argument is that America has forgotten because we elected Donald Trump. All right.
And Osama bin Laden would be happy. Yeah.
No, it does not say that.
Yes, it does.
It does not say Osama bin
I swear. I'm going to pull this up here. Let me get this here. All right.
First of all, they love the fact that they're able to put Osama bin Laden's picture right next to Trump. I guarantee you that made everyone super happy.
So this is the narrative that I've seen more than a couple times today. We forgot the lessons of 9/11. Osama bin Laden would love Trump. In electing Donald Trump, we gave Osama exactly what he wanted by exposing the U.S. as a hapless paper tiger.
I don't even know what you just said.
I guess that we're weak. We're a paper tiger. I've never heard that saying before. Anyhow, so it goes 18 years after the events of September 11th. One thing is quite clear: we forgot, which is what we agree, right?
So far, we've got common ground.
We have forgotten.
Guillermo, we're being bipartisan. Doesn't it feel nice? Doesn't it feel nice?
I love it. We can walk around. And say, "Hey, we're bipartisan." Yeah, I hate it when they do that. All right, here we go. I'm going to scroll down here. The very fact Trump is in the White House tweeting out such pablum is crystalline evidence that we've given up all hope on learning a lesson. The horror show of watching World Trade Center smash into the ground, taking 2,753 human lives with it, as well as the hundreds who died at the Pentagon or in the plane crashes and the thousands who died from diseases caused by pollution. Osama bin Laden, who was killed.
Oh my God! By the way, can you just stop right there though? Read that. We're now getting pollution arguments. You've never heard anything about the pollution arguments.
It's from.
I get it, but it's pushing the whole climate change.
Says Osama bin Laden, who was killed by the U.S. troops during Barack Obama's presidency, didn't live to see Trump win the presidency. We're talking about Osama bin Laden.
And can't we just say that the U.S. government had been looking at Osama bin Laden since the Clinton days?
Yeah.
So that's why Obama shouldn't get that much credit.
This is what irritates me when this article. Osama bin Laden, who was killed by U.S. troops during Barack Obama's presidency, didn't live to see Trump win the presidency. So it's impossible to know for sure how he would have reacted. When I read that, I don't give a how Osama bin Laden would have reacted to the election of President Trump.
And this goes to what we said earlier. This, again, it's looking inward. America, some fraction of America, some group, we're going to blame America for 9/11. That's what this is.
Yeah, it is. Well, let me get to you. But insofar as one major goal of Al-Qaeda was to expose the United States as a paper tiger, again.
Such a dumb.
The election of Trump was a huge victory for those terrorists we swore we would not be allowed to win.
This is why
I have no idea.
This is why we would not, I guarantee you, we would not be able to come together if something like this happened today, because it would happen and you would have a scary number of the country that would look inward and blame us for someone else attacking us.
So he goes. This person goes in further.
Who is this dummy?
Hold on. The terrorist leader, Osama bin Laden, wanted the world to see the U.S. the way he saw it: mean, hateful, small-minded, and cruel. Well, as George W. Bush liked to say, mission accomplished. Let me tell you something about this this stupidity of whoever the heck wrote this. And let me try to get you and me back on here. The person that wrote this is Amanda Marcotte.
All right.
Or Marcotti, whatever it is. Saying that Osama bin Laden wanted us to be we want to hate each other.
Yeah.
He wanted to change the culture of America. No, she's wrong. He didn't want to change the culture of America. He wanted to kill America.
He wanted to get rid of America.
He wanted to wipe us off the face. And he knew 9/11 wouldn't do it in and of itself. This guy hates us.
Yeah.
There is literally no America in extreme Islam. There's no Western way of life. Listen, he wasn't on a, mind-changing expedition. He didn't want to come over here and try to... He
wasn't an Islamic televangelist, people. Okay?
There you go. Could have said it better.
Come on.
Yeah, no, this guy hated us.
Yes.
And this Salon...
I'm still mad at... We don't know what Osama bin Laden would have thought. Are you kidding me?
This is how far we've gotten. Where we're actually starting to. It's stupid, and this is why.
And this would have been fringe stuff 18 years ago.
Oh, this would not have been printed.
The whole website would have been fringe. Number one.
Oh yeah.
No one would have rolled with this. But the fact that this is now out there, how many shares does it have? I bet you it's made its way around social media. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it has. But like I told you, this isn't the first. The theory is, hey guys, we've forgotten, and the proof of that is because we're not united, and we're not united because of President Trump. Boom, you forgot about 9/11, which again is a perverse, stupid argument, and you know want to know the sad part? People eat that up.
Yes, that's what
people will eat that up. Your generation that wasn't alive will say, "Wait a minute, Osama bin Laden wanted us to hate each other."
But wait, do you know how easy it is if you've already convinced them that America's a terrible place? If you have taught them that America's a terrible place, then you'll believe anything. As long as it's anti-American, it's no different than, let's say you have some creepy coworker, all right? You already know they're creepy, you don't like them, they get on your nerves, and then you hear that they did something bad.
Yeah.
Your mind doesn't even have to think about it. Oh, sure, I hate that person. Of course that person did something bad. Of course that person stole this. Of course, they've been taught to already hate America, so they will believe any anti-American thing that is spewed into their head.
Yeah. Randall, coming in on Facebook Live, says it perfectly. Our country is starting to take bin Laden's side, and it's very sad.
Yeah.
Randall, you're hitting it home. That's the reality. The reality is they are taking bin Laden's side.
Yeah.
It's anyhow. Let's take Sheila. Sheila from Louisiana. Sheila.
Hey, how are y'all doing? Guillermo and Jairus.
We're
better now that you're here.
Amen to that. Sheila, one of our favorite callers from Louisiana. What's the motto in Louisiana? You know, we're the Golden State.
No, it's the Magnolia State.
Oh no, I know you're not the Golden State.
Magnolia. I actually like that. That's got a nice
Pelican. Yeah. Well, anyway.
I like Magnolia State. I like that. All right, Sheila.
I remember 9/11. I was at the nurses' station, and the nurses were coming out of the patients' rooms, and they came up and said, a plane has just hit one of the Twin Towers. Well, when they started going down, when it all started happening, and they started going down, people were jumping off of the building on fire.
Yeah.
I remember it, and it was horrible. And can you imagine sitting there trying to decide, do you want to stay there and be burned up, or do you want to jump?
I can't. I live in a 15-story building, and I've been in the center of our staircase, and I've looked 16 stories down, and I couldn't imagine what it would have been like to be trapped in a stairwell.
It was horrible. It was horrible watching them go off of the building. And I'm going to tell you right now, if somebody doesn't remember it, and if they didn't teach it to their children, shame on them.
Did you ever have, was there ever because I remember in elementary school, anniversary of 9/11, we had assemblies. We had 9/11 assemblies.
Yeah.
Was there anything like that?
Oh, yeah. You get 9/11 assembly. We gather at the flagpole.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I have a granddaughter that I was talking to, and I tried to talk to her about some of this stuff. She was the least bit interested in it, and she was worried more about offending someone in her classroom. Yeah. That's what they teach them.
Yeah,
you don't offend other people that are in the classroom.
I don't know whose fault is it? Is it this generation that doesn't care, or is it maybe us that lived through it? Maybe we're not doing a good job. Maybe we're not.
I turned around and looked at my daughter-in-law, and I said, "You need to start teaching her, and you need to tell her how it is."
Yeah.
And she told me, she says, "Well, she's got to go to school, and she's got to do this, and I'm not going to do that to her." And I said, "Well, I would damn well do it to her."
Sheila, take over. Take over. You got to do it. You do it. You got to do it.
I'll do it.
Yeah,
I'll do it. I'll teach it to her. I've got two other granddaughters, and they're taught everything. So, I mean, here we go.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you,
it bothers me because and the people in the streets, people hadn't even stopped to think about that. The people that were in the streets when the buildings came crashing down and they breathed all that dust in, they had bad problems from that. They even set up a phone system where you could call them because people breathed in the dust from those buildings. And yes, when it hit hard, and it was an attack on our country. Everybody wake up.
Amen. Sheila, bringing it hard. Sheila, thank you so much. We love you. You know that. Jairus, you know what does irritate me? And I'm you know me, I bring it. I'm just honest. You know what irritates me is when I hear people saying, hey, where were you? You remember where you were at? It irritates me because it does. Okay. Let me tell you what.
I asked because I'm interested about the day, but I wasn't there.
I get it. But what irritates me about that is who cares where you were at?
Actually,
because it's where we're at now that really matters, and where we're at now is in a place where we're forgetting. You could go back and say, "Oh yeah, I was driving to the grocery store. I remember." Okay, that's great, but obviously it doesn't matter because we're forgetting collectively as a country.
That's actually right. So my question is always, how do you remember the morning of? Because obviously I was 1 year old. I don't remember anything. So I am interested in that, especially older people. I do ask them that. But
I started going to I'm not Catholic, but I went with my best friend to the Catholic church in a small town, and I think we were doing, I don't know what, catechism. We're doing some Catholic thing. And I have no idea what it was.
Some Catholics did something.
Wow.
Some Catholics did some stuff.
Anyhow, so we were there, and I got a call from my mom, and it wasn't the priest. It was like one of the priest helpers said, "Hey, I think it's best if we all just go home and be with your family."
Wow.
Yeah, and my mother picked me up. My friend went with his mom. And it was one of those things where
it's very weird though. So
it was
at a time of that crisis to leave the church was
it was you go home. You go because we were all kind of scared. We were all, even though we were over here on the West Coast.
Yeah, no.
It was like, wait a minute, what's going to happen next?
I remember I forget what year of high school it was, but anyway, high school teacher. Shout out to Miss Fox. She remembers because she was a student at Buchanan at the time. She remembers her friends or their parents were picking them up from school.
Yeah.
The morning up. Like she even said some of the classes, the later classes she went into in the afternoon, some of them were like half empty because parents were coming and taking their kids out of school.
Yeah, everybody was on edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember that. And that's what I'm saying, man. Go ahead, you could say, I remember where I was, but the reality is look at where we're at right now. Look at around us. I mean, come on. The way we felt on that day will never be the way that we feel today, and every year it's just going to get less and less and less. I don't know who's at fault, whether it's our,
I think it's a mix. I don't think you can call it one way or other.
It really is everybody, because you know what? You and I can influence someone. You listening can influence someone. You could go talk to a young person. Tell them.
But start in the home, too.
Start in the home.
Because that thing gets on my nerves. You got 5 grandkids that don't know nothing, but you're trying to influence some kid on the ghetto side of town. Go deal with your own kids first.
That's a very good
That's all
point.
I'm saying.
That's a very good point.
Do what Sheila.
Yeah,
do what Sheila was doing. Yeah. Right at your own house.
Pull your kids, pull your grandkids aside and say, hey, this is the way it was. Yeah. You go to the airport and you have to deal with TSA. You got to go. There was a time when it wasn't like that. You don't remember.
So
it wasn't like that.
I actually have a story about that. The whole thing about TSA being I figured that out while I was in line to get on one of my first flights ever. Scared the crap out of me.
Yeah.
I was scared the whole flight I was on there. Thanks, Dad, for telling me why the TSA was formed, so now I can just sit here and think about that.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And don't watch the special when planes go down. Yeah, I watched it.
It does not sound good
like
at all.
It's a 7 series. Google the when planes go down.
Do you want to know the one that really scared me? Because maybe this is it. The 9/11 doc, but it's like a. It's not like interviews with people.
Yeah.
Like they reenact it. Like it's the actors calling their parent or calling their family members on the phone before the plane hits.
This is what the 9/11 movie?
Yeah, I don't know what it's called. But
United 93.
Yes.
Yeah, it's called
and
United 93.
It reenacts the actual that one. That one will make you. Yeah, that one will do something to you.
So. Yeah. You know what I was thinking too? What I was thinking was maybe there has to be, and this is stupid, folks. What I'm about to say is stupid. So let me preface this. And I'm going to say it.
Come on, don't.
There's going to be a lot of stupid said tomorrow, so I might as well get my
We're just pumping you up.
I better get my stupid in. You almost have to make it personal again. Make it a movie. You know, because that's what reaches this generation.
I don't think that's stupid, man.
You know, you go, the Passion of the Christ. You know what I mean?
Make it a Facebook Live.
No.
Make it an Instagram.
Make it a Netflix special.
Yes.
I hate to say it, but, you know, you do that because I remember United 93.
Yes, yeah. And that is, and I didn't even watch the whole movie. I just remember some of the scenes of the people calling and crying. That's more vivid in my mind than any the History Channel 6-hour. I don't remember any of that. It bored me to death.
I made up my mind. You got to get it on Netflix because you know what? You want to know how many people were pissed off at Game of Thrones season finale?
No, I don't even.
A lot of people.
What happened? Why were they pissed?
That stupid show, Game of Thrones. It was because they didn't end the way they wanted.
Oh, okay.
Listen,
gotcha.
Game of Thrones affected the world. That's all I'm saying. We got you just got to
put it on Netflix.
Put it on Netflix.
Yeah.
Affect the world like stupid Game of Thrones did. But this is real.
Or Breaking Bad. That's another one that you. If you weren't watching that, you were just a failure in life.
I've never seen it anyhow. But no, that's maybe that's what you got to do. You got to bring it. You got to make it real for people to realize
and that's why that movie has more effect than like the documentaries because it took you inside how it actually
documentaries,
was.
It's almost as if you don't feel like you're connected with the documentary.
Yes.
I mean,
listen, those people. What's the name of the movie again?
United 93.
Obviously, they weren't actually, but you had a connection to them. You felt something.
You felt
you don't get
felt
that
like you were with them.
You don't get that with some UC Santa Barbara professor talking about planes and jet fuel and all that stuff.
No. Here's my other question because it's kind of interesting because you were I don't know how old you were. You were what, 1?
Born in 99.
In diapers.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: there's a lot of conspiracies going on.
No, we're not doing that.
I'm not doing it.
I don't want to talk about them today.
I'm not going to do it, but my time, it's like, you know what? We're just like, it's hogwash. There's no way. But your generation, were you guys like fed? Did you guys know like all the conspiracies? Like, the government did it.
No.
Jet fuel. In fact, there's no way the towers would have gone down.
But
George Bush sent an email to Condi Rice, and Condi Rice reached out to other people and were like, "Don't fly on this day." I mean, you've heard all of them.
You've heard all.
It's down to.
Here's what's bad is because like if you have an assembly or you're talking about 9/11,
are we gonna get Alex Jones on? Because he's like the king.
Eventually, at some point. All right, God bless him. But anyway, like if you're in school, like there's an assembly or your teacher's talking about it in a room, someone will mention something dumb about that, and then they get in trouble. But the worst part is that just fuels the conspiracy theorists. Like, oh, she works for the government. Honestly, that's how dumb these people. Oh, she works for the government, so now she's trying to cover up for him. I've heard them. I don't like to give them any light, especially not on a day like today.
I agree. The American Spectator, I thought, said it pretty much pretty well. Today, anti-Americanism is in vogue. Anti-Americanism is in vogue. It is more fashionable to burn the flag than to fly it.
Yeah.
The university wants to ban the use of the word American because it is not inclusive. Campuses have evolved into tuition-demanding, re-education camps that teach history, politics, and sociology from the underbelly of the American experience. Tolerance of the citizen who possesses the same national loyalty but holds a different perspective no longer exists.
Completely agree.
You know, it's in vogue.
Yeah.
You know, it's in vogue. The flag now is not revered. It's not honored. Is not respected. And I don't know. Honestly, I don't know how to change it.
This is one of those things, as two political talk show hosts, your answer doesn't come from Washington or Sacramento or any state capital or any body of government, really.
Yeah. I don't know. Talk to your kids. Talk to your family. Talk to your loved ones. You lived it. You know me. I work among seniors.
Yeah.
You know, I got a lot of senior friends. And I do.
That's not just because you're a Republican either.
But you hear the stories, you know, a lot of veterans. You know, they'll sit down and their eyes light up. They'll tell you.
Yeah.
You know, I got one guy got shot. He got shot out of a helicopter in Vietnam.
Shut out that.
Yeah, and he talks about, and you're just like, man. I just spoke to a hipster, who was mad at how his coffee was made at the coffee shop.
I said no fret, bro.
Yeah, right.
I said no fret, bro.
Yeah, this guy's blowing out of the air.
Yeah.
And this guy, he just.
And it's not just 9/11 that we're forgetting either.
No,
let's be clear about that.
I agree. We're not. Yeah, we're just. Someone made an interesting comment here, and it's not interesting because it's what we haven't heard in a while. If we forget it, we're doomed to repeat it.
Yeah, it's true.
You know what I would hate? I would really hate for anything bad to happen on that scale for America to realize we got to come together.
And it's sad that it would take something like that for us to realize it.
You know what else, Jairus? On 9/11, we got a common enemy, right? We had a common enemy.
Yeah.
It was Al-Qaeda, right? Okay, every time I say Al-Qaeda, I got to say it like George Bush. Like,
Al-Qaeda.
Al-Qaeda, acts of evil.
We're going to find her.
So, we had a common purpose.
Yeah.
We're going to destroy whoever did that to us.
Mm-hmm.
Today, you just don't, we don't, what is our common purpose? What can you grab a liberal, sit them right next to you, and could you agree on something? And I'm not saying like, agree that we're in a room. No, I mean, agree. No, could you agree on, something that can move us forward as American? I mean,
I don't think so, no. Especially not because now you're weak, like, if you give up any ground nowadays in politics. So, no, I mean, you know how many people probably, and liberals, you know how many liberals in their heart of hearts know that we're right but can't admit it because they're too weak? And their heart of hearts can't be open about it because that's just not accepted in our political culture anymore. It's unfortunate, but it's not accepted.
Yeah.
So, no, I don't think you could. And that's another thing, too. When we have an event happen, I mean, look at, what was her name? Dora? Whatever the hurricane's name was?
Hurricane Dorian.
Oh, my God. Half the country thinks, well, that's just what happens. We've had hurricanes for billions of years. Then half the no, it's because of climate change. No, it's because of the We can't even agree on why a hurricane's taking place. After a mass shooting, everyone has 1,001 reasons why it happened. So, no, I don't think that a tragedy of that magnitude would bring us together.
We probably couldn't sit next to the other side and say, hey, we want you to be successful.
Cameron, we can't even sit next to
because they'd probably be like, no, you don't. Because you don't understand what it is to be me.
You want to know what
you don't understand what it is to be my privilege. We don't understand what it is to have your privilege.
Do you want to know what the standard should be? If we can't even agree on genders, we're screwed. Yeah. If we can't agree on genders, I don't know what else there's to talk about.
Disconnect that mic and do a mic drop. That is,
can't get genders right. Can't get nothing right.
You're right. I can end the show early.
That's what it is, man.
Yeah. I don't know. What can we agree on?
Yeah.
I'm going to bring a liberal in here. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, if you can get one to come on. If you can get them to come on.
I'll bring a liberal in here. We might have to pay him.
No, we're not giving them money. Because you know what they're going to do? They're going to take that money and give it to Pocahontas. That's what they're going to do. They're going to go donate.
Give it to Tulsi. We'll say, hey, look, we will make you. That's what we're going to do. I'm going to find.
I saw her tonight on Tucker. I'm like, I'm going to miss you so much this time tomorrow.
Yeah. Does she have like a campaign team in Fresno?
Besides, if she does, she should fly him to Iowa. That's what she needs to do.
To fly him somewhere where there's voters. Oh, man. You are listening to a very, very long monologue, a very extended version of our debate week here. We haven't taken a commercial, so we figured we might as well.
Someone's got to pay for all these lights that have been on since 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
No kidding. We come back much, much more. What do you think? Have we forgotten? Have you forgotten? Has your family forgotten? Have you seen your son, your daughter, your grandkids forget 9/11 and this day? Call us 559-442-1680. That's 442-1680, or join us on Facebook Live. You're listening and watching the new Talk Radio 1680 KGED. All right, Moreno. The American flag will prevail. The left doesn't like the Betsy Ross flag. We can agree to disagree. We might be able to agree on that. I actually saw Congress sing God Bless America today. They sing God Bless America? Hey, Jairus, did Congress sing God Bless America today? They did something? I think no matter what the subject would be, they will disagree. They have had so much practice, they know nothing else. Yeah. You're on a roll, Jairus. I watched all of the 9/11 movies, and I teach my son to enjoy our country where we have freedom while others don't, and to remember our history, good and bad. You want to know, and Jairus, I'll do this on the air. You want to know where a really started to. I've always appreciated our country, but you know where I realized that there are a lot of patriotism was really, was really, well, besides after 9/11, it was in the Midwest. In the Midwest, yeah. I did spend some time. Let me get your mic on. I did spend some time in the Cheesehead State, that was Wisconsin. But going to college in the Midwest was, I was so grateful. I got to see another way of life. I mean, Midwest is family oriented. Well, unless you're in Rashida Tlaib's district.
I got it. Let's just move the whole country to the Midwest.
Don't do that to the Midwest. Don't do that to the Midwest. I love my Midwest. I want to move back to Michigan. And let me be clear. I am like on the total opposite end of Michigan than Rashida Tlaib. She's like,
you're on the other one.
I'm on
well,
south.
There's
south.
some district. I was again weirdo.
You know.
For fun, I like to look at the election results county by county. There's some Michigan districts where Hillary got like 30% of the vote. There's some real conservative parts of Michigan.
Oh, and it's the part that I went to school in.
Yeah,
it's southwestern Michigan.
Yeah, and then you get the Rashida spots.
Yeah, and then southwestern Michigan. You know that I have no backyards. You know that? Like they don't have no fences. That's what freaked me out.
In Seattle, Everett, Washington, they have that too.
I know. I was like,
what separates most of them is greenage. Like there's no like actual.
Yeah,
fence.
I was. Well,
they take no walls.
I was like, what?
Yeah,
they do. It's like, how in the heck can you guys do this? Like, why? You get gypped on your house, like the developer.
That's the funniest part. They don't.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
The Central Valley's home for all things Campaign 2020. Talk Radio 1680 KGED. And now, Guillermo Moreno, Jairus Jackson, and John Meccico.
Jairus Jackson, Guillermo Moreno here in studio on the 18th anniversary of September 11th. And we regret to inform you that we have forgotten as a country. We have forgotten as Americans.
But here's the thing: if you haven't forgotten, you most likely know that, because I think it takes someone who understands and hasn't forgotten to look around and realize we've made a mistake.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely correct. I don't know, and I don't know how we change it. I don't know if it can be changed. I don't, people that don't care. You do have that. And if you missed what I said last hour, I was at a restaurant today and I was at the cashiering.
Oh God!
And this guy told the guy in front of me as he was leaving because he paid in front of me. He goes, "Hey, happy 9/11."
Like it's his anniversary or something.
Yeah, like happy 9/11. What are you talking about? I mean, you say, you don't say happy American.
I really don't think you say anything like.
No, you don't.
What do you? Yeah, like you don't.
You don't say happy 9/11. What the heck?
I don't know.
Anyhow, it was a Chinese place, but the guy wasn't Chinese. It was P.F. Chang's. It was P.F. Chang's.
Okay, but what does that have
I'm just saying, the Chinese. I don't know. Maybe
that was the funniest thing. It was a Chinese place.
It was P.F. Chang's. So it was like American Chinese. But anyhow,
was it a Chinese guy?
No.
What was the race of the guy who said
the white young guy?
Oh yeah, maybe some white young liberal, like we established earlier. They're the worst.
I didn't know if he was a liberal or not.
Talking about happy 9/11 day.
Yeah, you're probably right. Most likely liberal.
Because that shows how ignorant he is about what went down 18 years ago. So yeah.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. Our board up there. You got a lot of people talking about, and you said it perfectly. I mean, come on, how much play did it get in the media? All of a sudden, we're back to John Bolton.
Guillermo, well, I was watching Fox. I looked up 1 second 9/11 stuff. I looked back, John Bolton. I literally grabbed my phone. I said, if it's not at least 9:45, I'm gonna have a problem. And it was like 9:17.
Yeah.
And they had already moved on to Bolton News.
Let me ask you a question. Tomorrow is the Democrat debate. All right, it's in Houston. Univision, ABC.
9/11. What? Did something happen on 9/11? What?
Well, I was going to ask you was, do you believe? All right, any of these candidates will mention 9/11.
You'll have some veil, right? They're going to pull together some study that shows, as our country's, not celebrated, but as our country mourn 9/11, we've had just as many people die in gun deaths or they'll come up with something like that.
They're pretty much going to try to invalidate the number of deaths. And
they are going to do.
That was only 3,000.
Exactly.
But listen, let's be honest. Climate change has killed. This is something that demands our attention.
Something along the lines of in our country, we experience X amount of 9/11s every single year because of X amount of 9/11s every single year because of climate change, because of whatever. You're going to hear that.
Gun violence,
so it's going to be basically what we've seen, which is screw the victim, screw what actually happened, screw mourning them. Let's just use it for our own political advantage, which is what they've been doing all day today.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's a candidate up there tomorrow that actually says anything.
Maybe if our homegirl Tulsi made the stage. Maybe. Yeah,
that's a lot of hope. That's a lot of hope for Tulsi Gabbard.
I'm just mad that Amy Klobuchar is going to be up there, but Tulsi Gabbard isn't. Get it together.
Yeah. Hey, when talking about whether, you had asked me when I came in during the 5 o'clock hour, hey, Guillermo, do you think that if this were to happen, we would get together as a country? I want to ask you this. Do you think it could happen again? And I asked it to you already, but do you think this could happen again? Do you think America can?
Yeah, of course. I don't think I would never say that, no, it could never happen again. Just on principle, I would never say that.
That it can, yeah.
Yeah, just on principle, I'd never say that and honestly mean it. So, yeah.
But, I mean, do you think we're safer?
Safer, yes.
Now than we were?
Safer, yes.
Safer?
Yeah.
I don't know.
But, of course, it could happen again. Yeah. So, and what was the other thing, too? That Salon article about how much Osama would love Trump? Something like that.
How they kept pointing bin Laden would love Trump because, Osama bin Laden.
Obama was there when Osama was killed.
Yeah, and he did it. Did you see the movie?
Yeah. Obama was there with the gun. He didn't know what to do with it because guns are evil, so he didn't know how to hold it. But they told him how to hold it, and then he's the one who shot Osama.
Yeah, no. So I agree with you. I think the United States. What I don't think that this generation realizes is the fact that you have a lot of bad actors that hate Americans. They hate the way we live, and a lot of these hipster, millennial, this new age generation. They don't realize because they haven't been out of the country. And those that have been out of the country are like, yay, Europe trip, backpacking, staying at hostels. Like, listen, sweetheart.
What's a hostel?
It's like a cheap hotel, like where you just go and you like share rooms.
Some
with
Motel
like
6.
No, but you share you bunk rooms with other people.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's gross. But no, I don't think this generation understands that. Look. People hate us.
But I think that
hate us, and they would do. And you have people around the world that would literally give up their life to kill Americans.
No, one American.
One American,
not in the whole country. No, just one American. But I think that's giving them too much credit.
Who?
We didn't need past generations. Didn't have to go to other countries, or past generations didn't have to live through terrible things to have an appreciation for America. I think that's cutting the millennials. That's cutting them some slack, in my opinion.
Then it's our culture. It's America. We're doing it to ourselves. It's our culture. Our culture is breeding this type of, this type of. It's the schools. It's the education. It's higher ed, right? Then you got the media. You got the cable news networks. You got social media. We're decaying as a country.
You've got a contributor to a news account on YouTube that has billions of views says America deserved 9/11 and not reprimanded, by the way. Can we point that out too?
Yeah.
He must have been fired right now. He was probably promoted.
Yeah. We're doing it to ourselves, and it's only going to get progressively worse.
Literally,
and we have ourselves to blame. It's the decay of the American family. I told you that when I went to, born and raised in Fresno, had never left California until I went to college. Went to Midwest, went to Michigan. And I was like, man, it's a slower pace of life, more family values. Mm-hmm. And the people that came from Michigan, they were rooted, and it's that Midwestern family values. I mean, California, I'll tell you this right now, we kind of get shortchanged. It's a fast pace of life.
Kinda. I mean,
well, we're a lot shortchanged, but it's the decay of our family, and just look at the way kids are being raised right now in the Midwest. I mean, you have some, well, not all the Midwest. Let's just be clear, but you do have some places in rural America. I'm saying rural like George W. Bush. Rural America.
It's really just a growl. Rural America.
Yeah, rural America. There's still some. I mean, there's some parts where it's still, I believe, is like it's golden.
Yeah.
That's where they're not afraid to fly the flag. That's where patriotism is still in style.
Still hip and cool.
It's still hip. Yeah, it's still cool. You get slapped across the face If you say anything anti-American.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean those places do exist. One day,
try disrespecting your elders in Middle America. See how well that goes.
Not. There's going to be a day when, unfortunately, that's all going to be, to the waste. It's going to go by the wayside.
Man, you know, I should go to the South or the Midwest or something. I'm so tired of people looking at me weird when I say ma'am or sir. They look at me like I'm some type of alien or something.
Me and my wife joke about it still.
Joke about what?
Like, Jairus is so proper. He says, "Ma'am." Sir. No one has ever called my wife "ma'am."
I don't know. Now, most of that's because I forgot her name, but still, you got to show some respect.
No, but you listen. You were raised in a home where, you respect your country. You respect your elders, and this has a lot to do with respecting just. You know what I mean? Like you said, your elders.
And respect, period.
Respect, period.
Period. It's not country respect. It's not old people. It's just respect, period. Respect for anything that's not you. That's the problem. We all love ourselves. Respect for anything except you.
Yeah.
Have respect for yourself, of course, but
when do you get your parents to write a book?
Don't have that.
I'm just saying.
Whatever.
Listen, you came out. You didn't come out all that bad.
Black conservative. Some would say I came out horribly. Some would say I couldn't have came out any worse.
I was gonna say
some of those people are family members.
I was gonna say, what's in that Clovis water? But if it's in Lee Brand's district, no, you're in Clovis. So
oh man, that Clovis water will do things to you. Make you become a race trader.
Listen, there's some parts in Clovis that are still pretty patriotic.
Well, Old Town. Let's put the flags up for the 4th of July weekend. Just leave them up.
Just leave them up.
Just leave them up there.
We're good. All right, let's go out to Steve in Illinois. Steve.
Good evening. How's it going?
Good. We're here. We're remembering, which is more than a lot of people are doing.
Yeah, you've been talking about the problems we have in this country, multicultural type issues. We can't get along, this and that, and the forefathers, when they created the immigration system, they weren't looking at this country being multicultural like we're being fed today. Everything's about this person from there and that person from there and everything, and people are divided. I'm African American, let's say, or I'm Korean American or Mexican American, or the hyphen part.
Yeah.
And it keeps us divided. Our forefathers, they wanted everybody to come here. They actually wanted to give a immigration period of 14 years before you could become a citizen. They talked about that a lot because they wanted the people that wanted to come here and be an asset to our country to be American, and it wasn't dreamt of as being multicultural. They wanted people to be here to support this country and to do something for this country. And that's what they were pretty adamant about. But like we hear today, there's division with everybody. Everything's talked about this country was built on immigration. Well, that's true. But those people that came here come here to be American. Yeah. And we've lost that concept of understanding that everybody in this country is supposed to be as one. Yeah. We're supposed to be one people. And we've got the big argument.
I agree. As I was driving over to the studio, I said, wouldn't it be cool if there was a day where we just didn't talk about, political parties, or we did something.
What would we come on and do?
I don't know.
What would we do?
Well,
we can come on and talk about movies, like the other, like the 3-letter station.
No, Steve, you get what I mean. Like, I don't know. I mean, do we need a day to be like, look, there's no talking about politics at all. CNN, NBC, cut off your feeds. Let's just.
If we knew, if our government, and we knew what our government was supposed to be doing, and they did it, we wouldn't be talking about bad politics.
Yeah, that's true.
We wouldn't have a conversation other than being able to talk about the success and the unity of the people in this country. But everybody's got their own. You've got your own group, and you're not united no more. You've got a reason to be divided.
Yeah,
I think.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. Oh, I was just going to say, if our government and the media are the biggest instigators of division,
Yep.
Yeah.
they keep us divided for a reason. And that's when you divide people, they have less strength. So, if we was to be of the mentality that we're all one people, we're all Americans, we're all for each other, you'd have so many success stories to be talking about instead of bad politics.
And it is true. And a lot of that bad politics comes from the federal. Man, back in the colonial days, you think they gave a damn about what the federal government was doing? The federal government.
No.
No, because the federal government, it knew its role. It did only that, and it stayed out of your life. If you were involved in government, you were involved in city, or you were involved in a city and state government. The federal government, it was so irrelevant in people's lives back in the day.
Look what's being talked about right now today about making laws about vaping.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is not a delegated power to federal government. Absolutely not. That is up to the states to control.
I'll tell you what, Steve, wouldn't it be nice if the Constitution actually laid out the duties of the federal government? Wouldn't that be nice?
Article 1, Section 8. There you go.
I don't know, Steve. I'll tell you, I'm getting kind of sad. I'll be honest with you, because I don't know a solution.
Well,
I don't know how to
back to
solve
the public opinion. It's all based what our legislators or Congress is doing and legislators are doing in Washington D.C. is based upon opinion. The people, they keep saying the people want something done. These polls are saying, well, the majority of the people, 75% of the NRA members want red flag laws, blah blah blah, and lo and behold, Marco Rubio comes up with a red flag law.
Yeah.
He has no power to do that at all. And that's what the problem is people are calling up saying, I want you to do something, and government is too chicken to say, we don't have the power to do that. Talk to your state, because they are too into themselves about gaining power.
I would instantly fall in love with any politician that said, listen, I want to do that, but I don't have the power to do that. That would be so beautiful. Yeah. Oh, that'd be so great. Could you imagine if they just get, listen, I want to do this, but the Constitution says I can't, so sorry, you got to go talk to someone else. I don't care what party. I'd fall in love with that politician. They're being honest.
Yes, and that's what we need. That's what we need, is people to understand why we gave powers and certain powers to the federal government. And like I said, I argue with Peter King's office, and I even brought up the 10th Amendment, where it says powers not delegated to the federal government are reserved to the people or to the states and the people. And he denied that the federal government has limitations on their power. So, I mean, we've got people that are sitting in office that plain are just ignoring the Constitution, their oaths, and everything else.
Well, they just keep growing government. I mean, they just keep growing the beast, and they keep
feeding the beast.
And they're making people dependent on it. You know, this entire gun control debate is, listen, you know what? We can solve it. We could solve gun control. We could even solve Mother Nature. There's no problem too big that we cannot solve. Yeah. That's right. The entire mentality, and it's almost as if we're trying to play God.
No, we are.
We are trying to play.
And
God.
The federal government is, and Steve was talking about, a great student of history there, the days where the federal government was irrelevant in the average American's life because that's how small it was.
Yeah, it's true. Steve, we appreciate. Well, go ahead.
There's a saying that when people fear government, you have tyranny. When government fears the people, you have liberty. Yeah. Every time they create an agency, they're making government bigger.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the problem, is people sit and believe that the federal government has the power to create whatever they want, and the federal government is doing it. So that's what we need to do, is learn where the boundaries are.
Very true. Steve, we're going to end it there. We got Esteban up on the line here. We'll get to Esteban in just...
I was going to say my favorite, little conservative saying is, I want a government so small it can fit in the Constitution. That's what I want. I want a government so small it fits in the Constitution.
You know, I've shared this with people. I'm Seventh-day Adventist, right? I'm not a very good Seventh-day Adventist.
Don't sell yourself.
Well, because,
short.
no, I'm on it. You know, God's listening. So,
well, you're not supposed to drink coffee, right? Caffeine. And you consume gallons of caffeine on a daily basis.
We don't need to remind Guillermo what a bad Seventh-day Adventist he is, anyhow. So, Seventh-day Adventists, you're supposed to remember the Sabbath, right? You're supposed to, we take a whole day from sunset on Friday, sunset on Saturday.
Saturday. Ooh, okay.
And you honor God, and that way you never forget. You never forget our Creator. So I'm not saying, hey, we need to take off a day every week to remember that we're American. But I don't know.
You don't want to go North Korean on them, but. I don't want to stay around. No, I don't.
But you get what I'm saying, though, right?
Yeah, but it goes back to the things. I don't think government can solve this problem. This is a cultural thing. I don't think you can mandate pass. I don't think it's going to work, man.
Then you get it. We're only going to be worse. There's no solution. Our culture is decaying at a rapid rate. The family unit is decaying at a rapid rate.
It's decayed. How long are we going to say decaying?
All right,
it's decayed.
We are. We're at. Listen, unlike climate change, I think culturally we're at the point of no return.
Yeah,
let's just be honest.
We don't have 10 years.
We're good. I mean, we're not good, but I'm just like we agree on that. Yeah. All right. We're gonna Esteban. Esteban, you got like 30 seconds, man. I'm so sorry we kept pontificating there.
Yeah, no worries. So there's a few things I kind of wanted to say, but first, it starts with the schools, and obviously, when we were going to school and what they're teaching now, they're teaching that people have the rights under government rather than under by God, unalienable rights by God, and it starts there. So the moment these teachers stop emphasizing the issues that happened and the terror attacks of 9/11 is the moment that these students are not learning to care. And so because of that, people that do not appreciate the country they're in will not fight for it. And so, within a whole generation, we went from a country
we got 8 seconds
remembered to a country that couldn't care less. And so that's where we're at in 18 years. Imagine what's going to happen in 10 more.
Yeah, no kidding. Esteban, we appreciate your phone call. Join us tomorrow, 5 to 8. We're going to have the Democrat debate live right here. Jairus Jackson, John Meccico, and Guillermo Moreno. We'll be back. Folks, we appreciate you guys tuning in on local station channel 32.3. You're still on right now. We appreciate everybody on Facebook Live. And, hey, it's still 9/11. Go home. Tell your kids.
Talk to those kids.
Call. Yeah, if you have someone young next to you, let them know how great we are, and let them know how great we must continue to be, and just let them know that this world isn't perfect, but if we are united and we have one common goal, there's anything we can achieve anything. Right, Jairus?
Oh, I can't think of a better way to end it. You know what the worst part is tomorrow all this is going to be washed away by 3 hours of a Democrat debate.
Yeah. So let's never forget. Right? Let's never forget. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow. And you know what? Yeah, Randy said something great. Don't forget 9/11, but don't forget 9/12 when we were all Americans, right? Very true.